Wih, hilang. Saya nih lagi wangi banget, anjir. Uh, nice. Ya, ya. Tuh orang gila kalau oh no. Nice, 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 nice. Kurang satu. Tang. Hmm, gila. Nah, Dexter nge-wave. No, no, wave. Damn. Nice, nice. No, nggak kecek. Ya, Oke, dapat B. Nice. Dun. Ya, majuin jet. Aduh. Dapat 3 jasnya. Nice skill. Uh, gila. Apa ini? Nice skill. Oh, nice. Nice skill. Wih. Ih, uh. Ya, manskin bawa jas lagi. Cek dulu. Oh, nice. Lah, lah, lah. Ileng. Nice. Nice. No. Nice try, big nice try. Woo. OP versus Timber Ult. Ih. There. Nice. Nice. Wah, anjir Manskin. Keras juga tuh orang. Nice. Let's go. Satu sama. Noson. Oh, oh iya. Kok nggak masuk? Om.
Huge. I was worried that T1 was going to go into Lotus and be crushed after,
Aman.
dropping that split when they had multiple map points.
Agak
But clearly
aneh.
not being bothered by that at all. And Saya player is having a whale of a time. What a day he's having at the moment. This is incredible for him.
Saya Chamber, like this is the
Satu
way.
sama.
Yeah, this is the way. I want to just, maybe, as an offering for Saya player, slam poetry. Saya player, super Saiyan player. There.
Awesome poetry. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Well, someone send this clip to Sai. He'll He'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Walt Whitman is rolling in his grave.
But yeah, he was exactly what T1 needed to carry them to that next level. And we saw it on Split, and obviously we saw it on Split, and now we see it here on Lotus, and it's even crazier than before. He is just checking every single corner, wanting to go for every single fight, and somehow he manages to win that and escape without taking any kind of casualty.
Now, the thing that's the most frustrating for me is that they found this groove, and it looks fantastic. Izu also putting up solid numbers on the duelist. They could have been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, well,
They
they're
could have put Scion Chamber from the beginning, but Extra, no, I want to be the Chamber player. No, this is looking so damn good. And, you know, it's not about how you start. It's all about how you finish. And if T1, if they're going to have a strong finish to the season by running things like this, by putting Scion on that Chamber, then by God, I'm all for it.
You know, you just gotta trust the T1 process. And they probably needed to figure it out. It just seemed like the obvious thing to do to put Execrate on the chamber, to be fair. To be fair. But they've obviously figured something out, at least for Lotus. And we are gonna go into map 3. I mean, how are you feeling looking at these stats right now, Asterai?
I'm kind of shaking in my boots a little bit with the predictions that we have, because...
You're wearing sneakers, though.
Sorry, I'm shaking in my... Yes, my sneakers. I don't think that was the point of this. But yeah, it feels like, again, T1, if they can keep doing this and all 3 maps can actually go for chambers, it might be a cause of concern right now for Gen G, because first things first, we're not really seeing Gen G have that explosive entry, and I think that is because of I don't know, Saya player Izu able to shut down consistently. Texture that we're seeing right now is 9 and 15, which we usually don't see when, you know, we want Gen G to win.
Yeah, I'm curious what the layout's going to be for T1 going into Sunset, because right now, not seeing Carpe. Maybe he gets subbed in and Stacks gets subbed out as we get ready to go into Sunset. But otherwise, does somebody pick up playing that Gecko? That's going to be my biggest question. So I'm curious to see what they're going to piece together, if there is going to be that substitution, if they are going to be playing with that 6-man core. I think at the moment, and for the moment, what I would say is don't touch it. Leave these 5 players in. Right now, everybody is playing extremely well together. So to just throw somebody in late in a map 3 and say, okay, go close out this important series that we need to try to make it into playoffs, I think that would be too big of a risk.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
for T1, I'm hoping that we do just see these same 5 players moving over into Sunset, but I don't know what it does look like from there.
Yeah, because again, we've seen some teams actually bring a different player onto map 3. I think that was like
Talon's
Talon.
done it, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Secret's done it, too.
And
in
you
the
don't
past.
exactly. So you really don't want that hot streak. I know. I don't know why. But you don't
That's
want
okay.
that hot streak to end. So they're already there. It's already feeling good. If Rationale dictates that you swap out because it's a better player, he knows more of the... No, you just follow the flow of the game. And the game right now is, again, as you mentioned, just keep the 5 playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Data or Autumn were listening. This is our
They probably
professional
aren't.
advice from the
I mean, if they are, then stop. Go be with the team. Get them ready for this map. What are you doing?
Stop watching us right now. All right, we also had our own game going on, and it was about which site was going to be planted on the most total. And I decided to gamble a bit. C would have been the logical answer, I think.
Yeah.
But it was A. All things are... The viewers are right. Viewers are always right.
Wow.
And I picked a tie. Does that mean I D-ranked twice?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Production's saying no, so you're spared from
Oh,
that.
I am spared.
Even
the
though
wrath
we know
of
you want to get
Britain.
the wood rank, but
All right, so viewers up rank, and how are you guys feeling about, you know, the results of how the spike has been planted? You clearly we all picked C confidently.
this is a familiar feeling. Is all I'll say.
This is you guys.
But I was able to run it back. I was able to win this game last time. So
Yeah.
just because I'm losing here does not mean that it's permanent by any means. So
It's okay.
I never hit iron so fast.
You know
But
what?
Here we are.
If I can
Here we
get
are.
to the
2
bottom
days.
as quickly as can, you know, everything, nothing to go and nowhere to go but up. If I can hit
just
like,
do it. Just go to the bottom nice and early,
Yeah.
linger there, and then at
Yeah.
the very end, skyrocket all the way up to Radiant. That's
Yes,
that's
that's the
definitely the play. It's a lot easier than what Valdez was doing, just hovering around the top the entire time.
I don't know what this says about Pacific being the best. We were saying that a lot yesterday. We're just-
well, I mean, specifically the players
Well,
are
the
the
players,
best.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
When Gen G won Shanghai, it wasn't like a 50-50 or just a random thing where you do a 1 in 4.
All right.
So it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we can judge the region off of our little mini games.
That's true. I like that. That's a safe way to go. So again, A site got planted 5 times, B 2 times, and C 3
Good job,
times.
viewers.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally we see a lot of C plants, especially with Gen G actually.
Well, that's the thing, is like if Gen G could have gotten more plants down,
Yeah.
C would have won. But T1 were too good
Yeah.
and prevented them from doing that. So therefore, we would have been correct if Gen G played well.
Yes, actually. So this is all
Yeah.
T1's fault for being great. So good job, T1. We are going to be going into Sunset. And we've seen a couple of iterations of the Asian comps here. I agree with you guys. I wonder if we're going to be seeing more of that gecko. I'm so sure, though, by next week,
Paka.
when the
Ngayon,
new
bakal
patch
dipake.
comes in with the
Matiwan.
agent changes, we're going to see like huge changes on Sunset. This is probably going to be the last kind of version of this this week from these teams. Yeah. So how are you guys feeling about this? How are you feeling about Sunset? How are you feeling about your predictions?
I think that it's potentially alive, but I need to see what the comps are going to be looking like. I think Saya, the chamber isn't something that we often see because it doesn't really control pacing too well. The Cypher is incredibly good at that. One of the other things they could do is something like a Sage. Take a leaf out of PRX's book in that regard. Bring that out, and that allows you to have some decent tempo control. So I really just need to see what they want to do to determine whether or not they're going to be in a good position. But Gen G, that Lotus, they were not looking like themselves. We didn't see that rally back. We didn't see that tenacity that we got from them over on Split. It seemed like the exhaustion just kind of kicked in. And T1 were really, really fired up. So I think that T1, honestly, they could take this one away.
Do you think Gen G can burn out or get tired? They're so used to just playing game after game after game. I'm sure there's something, though, after you finally get that trophy, the very first, in fact, and something could be happening there where they're just like a bit over-relaxed. I don't want to take away from T1's success, though. T1 is playing well.
No, they are. I mean, they're hitting incredible shots, and I mean, a lot of times it's side player picking off people before they really have an opportunity to fire back. He's just been Johnny on the spot with some of these op shots and whatnot. So, but I think for Gen G, if they are feeling tired, it's okay. You've made it to 2 international tournaments. You have an immense amount of championship points racked up. So losing out on going to champs is nigh impossible for them. I think it's okay to slow things down a little bit. Don't, keep yourself on this hard grind at the start of the stage. Let things ramp up again, kind of like we saw from them in stage 1.
Do you agree with that, though, Asarai? Do you think that, they should be taking it a bit slower, or keeping that momentum super important for Gen G?
I think keeping the momentum is going to be very important because, again, this is a team that has played those long games. So, You're right. There it is.
Stage.
So
Saya
Rossi's
pakai
going over to the Gecko.
Sage.
Stax is on the Brooch. I love to see that.
Like it.
But we get Saya, not on Chamber, goes over here for the Sage. So this is going to be the replacement, for the hard Sentinel role. Still no Cypher, so there's
Bagas it's
easier
ini-
access to sites for the likes of
Pakai
Texture, as he does
operator.
often play the Jet. This is one of the weird maps where we see a ton of Rays, but he does not go for the Rays.
Yeah, I just wonder what's gonna be the impact for Rossi now moving forward with this one. I believe he was the KO player.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's usually where he has his impact agent with. How can he actually bear moving up to the Gecko that is pretty much needed here on Sunset for at least for T1?
Well, we're going to be going to the third map. I don't think it's surprising for the most of us, but we're happy to see it. Let's go over to our casters, Chopra and Quack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a little bit of some of the role changes here for T1. All things considered, not too big of a change in the composition itself from what they showed us in Shanghai, but of course their run ended quite short in Shanghai, so we didn't get to quite see the full picture from T1, but this does allow them to put Stax onto his age-old comfort pick of Breach. Isu still gets to stay on the Rays, and now Saya player, he was playing the Gecko, but he did play the stage on the Icebox over in Shanghai as well, so obviously getting some time on that agent.
Now let's see how that really works out, because so far for today, the game plan has been side player with that operator, and it works out so well. This is a map where an operator could be pretty good too, but clearly you want something more from a Sentinel when your duelist can be so pervasive with how they dive in So trying to work out against texture, but Genji
Wah,
now
gila.
just incredibly pressing on the pace all the way up mid.
Yeah, it's just going to be a quick scout all the way into market. Now this will be able to circumvent the Sage wall a little bit, trying to break it from both sides. But right now, the members that are inside, they might be in a little bit of trouble. They have to just stay alive until the rest of the team can crawl in through B main, waiting for the slow orb to dissipate. Now T1 already all swarming the site as well. It's a quick flood, trying to make sure that they can take control back of the site. And ECU just cannot get enough kills. And all of a sudden, Rossi finds himself left alone in the middle of the map, up against 4 members of Genji.
Here, running over while the spike gets planted. Really, really tough for him to win his way out of this one. As he looks for some of these angles and tools. Able to take out the camera, gets down the first. But that tripwire right in front of him. He's got a bit of utility.
Yeah, and especially as a Gecko here, just getting a couple more kills could mean a big thing. Trying to get that Thrash online early. We see it come on very early on Sunset a lot of the times.
Let's go.
And now Genji recognizes that. They don't want to give up the free kills. They say enough time has passed. The wingman had just been used to scout as well, so he's not going to be able to use that for the defuse until a little bit later. No time left in the round. And Rossi just looking for one more kill on the exit, and he gets one. Will not get the fourth, but that is 3 points towards that Thrash.
Good kills. And Thrash is a very, very useful ability on this map. But apart from that, the pistols so far today have been pretty even. Genji fighting back by increasing the pace right now. You have to admire how, you know, Excret plants that site smoke to just buy a little bit more time and throw that paranoia from cover. But Genji, again, with the way that they take fights, not fully committing and then getting it in once they find that advantage, it's always something to admire.
And 4 rifles, 2 of them automatic, so we'll be able to utilize that B site a little bit if they so choose. But not going for anything like the Stinger than the Spectre, so shying away from the A site for the time being is Genji. Smoke comes out from T1. We'll have to force Genji to all wrap around the far side of that box. But they don't have the weaponry to fight it. Meteor digs deep with the Ghost. He does win the second one. Meanwhile, fight's already going through on the site. Meteor now already on the chase of Cyber Cage, trying to give him a bit of an advantage. Doesn't quite finish off the kill itself, though.
And it's so good because he only had a Ghost. And he got so much damage off of that. Sad player trying to top his teammates off with that heal, but still a very difficult round to win back. Just looking for some of these exits while Genji secures the spike and the site.
Oh, I like this from T1. So 2 of them looking to die to the spike, but Rossi, he's 2 points away from the Thrash. He wants to get an exit frags. He wants to try to set up the Thrash in the next round. It gets shut down, but even with the death, now only 1 away from that ultimate. So T1 still doing what they can to try to scrap together the silver linings, but of course, so far, things all going perfectly for Genji here in the very beginning of map 3 on Sunset.
Good idea, though. Good idea. I mean, this is a map that Genji intentionally left open. They clearly have the ideas and the adaptations to how they want to fight against T1. I mean, this is, so far, some of the fastest rounds that we've seen, you know, starting out on a new map. Meanwhile, T1 just trying to find some adjustments, too. I mean, we haven't seen too much yet. Just some of these barrier orbs walking off the B site. It hasn't worked out the best. Stax trying to do what he can with that, you know, breach utility around the A site, but Genji has been avoiding it so far. This round, though, it's a different story.
Yeah, now all eyes on to A site. Genji, perhaps part of it, trying to deny that ult orb as well. Now Stax is here alongside Rossi, so a lot of utility. It's going to be a fast one trying to get past all of the early utility, but there's the spam through the smoke. He just can't get through. The flash a little bit late, but Stax not late on the trade himself. Will still be able to hold on to elbow. Still 4 members alive. However, the rifles were purchased the previous round, and Genji have a couple upgrades themselves. Still 3 rifles against the 4 of T1. Genji now slow it down, forcing T1 to have to fish for information. Here comes that utility that's going to be going on to cool down. There's the mosh, and then there's the aftershock. He needs to get out far, but he just cannot go far enough. Saya player really just has to get information. Gets an advantageous angles, repositions, looking for the trade follow-up as well. Playing through the box, and he will get the second kill. Very, very clean buy round from T1.
Masterful. I mean, first of all, that combo of utility,
Kukira
the way
saya
that Snacks
bakal
holds down this A site.
pakai
Breach is just such a
sniper-sniperan.
strong agent around this spot. The fault line denies texture. The rest of it, the flashpoint just slows down the pacing. And of course, no escape towards the end, unfortunately. But Saya player, as he kind of dances around these boxes too, I mean, just shows how much T1 can control when they're reading the right pushes from Gen G. So 2-1 for now.
Yeah, so Gen G, again, you're going on a bit of a bonus. Now, obviously, quite a bit of investment themselves from the 2 rounds, but once again, trying to go for the fast tempo. This time, they draw out the reaction, so a lot of conditioning already going on from Gen G. They're not going to take too much damage, just a little bit of chip onto Lakia. And during all of that, mid goes over to Gen G for free as well. So a similar pattern, but this time, all members left alive, and this is going to impact the future rounds. But for now,
Wah, midnya.
it's a hard push. All the way
Yeah.
through top mid. It's going to be more targets than T1 bargained for. They have no idea.
shit.
Yizu had no idea what was in store for
Tifus
him.
4 orang.
Too many targets to choose from. And Lakia still here, over on the lurk, ready to pinch when the time is right. He needs to get this kill, and he will. Sight is now opened up for free. Saya and Excurate going through the smoke early. Saya catches sight of one, but they need to go as a double team, trying to get the spike. Excurate goes in a little bit too far forward ahead of his teammates, and he's all alone. Thinks he can maybe deny the spike plan. And Saya, I mean, what can you do here? Sure, you've had some great shots as the chamber, but this time it's gonna be none as Meteor closes it out and Gen G once again keeps the lead.
Oh my goodness, the strats on this map is really tough to read once you're considering, you know, every single possible factor along with it as well, right? I mean, talking about possible conditioning as it goes through, that's why we see a lot of early pressure around this A main area. But apart from that, Gen G just having the cognizance to go that deep down mid and do it together as a team. There's no way that, you know, T1 would have anticipated that. Unless they were being careful, so Carrot says welcome back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who you're welcoming back. Maybe it's yourselves coming right back into the swing of things, but Gen G, and now after that conditioning onto the A side, it's going to be a fast push onto B. The updraft and the dash deep in, but Excurate holds his ground in the smoke. We'll make sure he orients himself. Dwindles the numbers. Thrash online for Rossi. Oh no! That would have been a crucial kill, but still the trade. Still numbers advantage for T1. And now the Thrash. Gen G. Can they make sure that they have enough people staying alive? All the ults being drawn out of T1. And Gen G may just have to be calling it as a satisfaction and say, all right, throughout all the power ultimates, so be it. The rush doesn't work out.
Similar to what we saw from before. I mean, sometimes you just got to throw that curveball. Maybe your opponents catch it, but at the very least, you kind of baited out some of their cards as well, right? So that's a very good win. But that said, T1 has to continue to try to find this lead back towards their side. So far, they've been putting a lot of attention on this A site. The recovery from Excurate, though, you have to admire that. That was really good. Maybe not securing the kill, but getting enough information. And then a combo of utility, the thrash into the showstopper, the shots into A main. T1 definitely has what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, also giving that respect as well. Like you said, having to use all those ultimates now, that does give a little bit of priority back to Gen G with the ultimates they have online. No command for Munchkin. Sage Wall waiting to be used on a timing. That's going to allow them to focus all on mid. If they clear out mid, eventually that A site is going to be a fast retake as well. Going deep with no audio. T1.
Whoa.
This is a journey, and it may not be a good one if they commit to it. It's a quick trade, and they will have to back off. You don't want to try to hold on to tiles without control of the rest of the map. Just Excurate waiting as a bit of a curveball, bit of a wild card. And meanwhile, Rossi will look to hold backside of A, looking to go for a retake on the A site. And Gen G will have to spend their time clearing corners, because here's the thing, they're feeling the pressure that if tiles was taken over, was there a pinch on the A site? Cam going to be used on a timing.
Gen G's wondering about it, but at the same time for T1, it's high risk, high reward. Excurate has to be very, very cautious with how he wants to peek out. Trying to play around the cyber cage now. He knows that Gen G's pretty much committing to this A site. The team is here to play alongside him, but he has to stay alive. Meteor just turns around. The trip wasn't even off yet. Just having the awareness to check for it, and now it's a 3-on-4 retake.
I mean, how does Meteor think to check once more when he still has the trip? He would have been safe if he just stayed away, but for now, all eyes still on the retake as it tries to go through. Never mind, it will get stopped as soon as it begins. T1 does not even get to step into the site. Saya gets a consolation kill. 1 point towards his ult. But that's going to be it. Has to go for a save. Wants to make sure that he's not getting chased. Will just make sure he's able to punish anyone who follows through. But Gen G, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to greed for it. Their credits aren't exactly in the healthiest place right now. They'll be happy with the round win. And what a recovery here from Gen G.
I mean, it really shows they don't miss a single beat. If Meteor maybe didn't turn around, then it would have been a little bit more possible for T1, but he did. And not only that, just when it comes down to a numbers game, when it comes down to retakes, Gen G has the information, they have the numbers, they will make those trades painful. And it's just that much more difficult for T1 at that point. So on to the next rounds. I mean,
What? A very different vibe from Meteor. Very, very mellow.
I mean, it just shows how comfortable Gen G are still.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, the Desk talked about how they might be a little bit tired. It's been a rough schedule for them, and maybe just trying to save his energy. But one way or another, just making sure that they're not going to overdo it. The dash in, and he confirms the paranoia is there as well, so he knows he would be safe on that aggressive dive. A good read from Gen G. So patient, even after being pushed to a third map.
Just so fast. They're still confident with everything. Now, despite the smokes, Munchkin going in to clear a little bit more, gets further information. Stacks now finding those numbers back into the hands of T1. Karen finds the trade with positioning. Still up on top. Good paranoia from XQ. Tries to send that go signal in, but side player unfortunately gets shut down. Meteor holding the off angle makes it that much more difficult for T1 to push through. And at this point, it's just a little bit too daunting. They're going to have to save.
Yeah, so I don't know as we wait to see if there are going to be any extra kills here on the side of Gen G. Texture for sure wants to go in for more. He's got that Blade Storm and see how many more he can get. Not anymore for the time being. And so T1 will keep 2 of the rifles. But I was going to say, going for the retake onto A, sure, it's not the best position. You're all coming in through alley in the back of sight. But using your utility 1 by 1, there's not a single double up from T1 in this previous round. And so that allows Gen G to always peek out from different angles 1 by 1 to go for these trades. I mean, if you were only just able to maybe double down on some of those pieces of utility, maybe you at least clear the trip a little bit earlier, you're able to get in at least a step more forward. I think Gen G's positions were still strong. That's something that T1 will have to consider because they do have a very strong retake composition, and they'll have to work it to their strengths.
So far hasn't been successful though, Will. That's what I'm really, really worried about. The timeout being called now to hopefully give them some confidence coming back into the game. But so far, I mean, all of this is due to the effects of mental conditioning, right? Gen G just continues to show that they have the confidence, they have the strength to execute and rush whichever side it might be. You know, earlier on we saw it was over on B, now we're back on A, and Texture back on the Blade Storm. There's so much that T1 kind of needs to watch out for sometimes that they kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit.
Yeah, the early couple rushes as well. Again, that conditioning really forcing T1's hand. T1 starting to do a couple of these overreactions on the rotates, on their utility. And we'll see if this timeout's able to calm them down for the time being. It's not going to be a pretty buy for T1, as they will mostly try to match their credits. Rossi will just buy down to a rifle, but worst case, he'll be the only one without a rifle the next round. And now all half armor, door closed on market. T1 just kind of looking to play the numbers game. Stack on A first. They have the Rolling Thunder if it's a rush, but if it's not that, they'll have the breach. Watch for mid control. Stacks, the game plan isn't to push out. It's just to make sure that they get information. As now you have B walled off and A main cleared, and is it a double? No, it doesn't connect to the second, but still does get one. And look at the duels in mid. Gen G just pick him off from a distance. And T1 whittled down to 2 members in a blink of an eye.
Just that strong. It's so difficult to take some of these duels against Gen G, especially when they have those numbers. Gen G's protocols are always that good. Nobody is ever truly alone on the site. And that's why that smoke, that call from Karen Munchkin, really, really good at how they wanted to take control over mid. Not bad from side player, but unfortunately the trade's not going the way of T1. So this retake, I'm sorry, Will, doesn't fill me with the most confidence right now.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be a tough one. You've got Hunter's Fury as well, but there's no way that you're going around on a flank in a 2v3. So the round all but written in stone for Gen G. T1, they'll try to take away the ult. Can they take away the weapons? Can they get anything for themselves? They know they have to dig in a little bit fast. Izu wants kills, and Gen.G knows they don't have to give it to him. The swing outs are good from Meteor and Charon, each getting one apiece. Gen.G now leading 6-2.
They operate like a, oh my god, like a SWAT unit. You can tell hiding inside of that smoke, that blast pad kind of beeping off against them. They're just counting down. All right, 1, 2, 3, peak. And they just take down T1 in that successful fashion. 3 rounds in a row now for this team, even after T1's timeout.
And now Gen.G look to continue the pressure back onto A.
Rolling Thunder available?
Yeah, so T1's going to stick with the same plan here, trying to stop if it's a rush over by the A side. The fault line goes out first. Izu needs to attack. He needs to back off. You have that Rolling Thunder. You can wait for another turn. Stack's waiting to corral them, but here's the thing. No pinch from T1, so they'd have to chase them through a bottleneck here in elbow. And Gen.G, they sense something's different. It's not the same reaction, and this time pinch. The Dizzy set up alongside the Rolling Thunder. There's the Cyber Kings, there's the fragments, but it's not enough. Perfect execution. A clean read from T1, not getting shaken up by the previous round. And now the ultimate leads to a flawless round.
Just opens things up, reads Gen.G's pages, figures out exactly what they needed to do to set that up. Rossi alongside that Dizzy, stacks with the Rolling Thunder, and he does not feel afraid. He pushes up front to find those frags, collects on every single head. This is the T1 that we need to see more of. That's how they capitalize on that Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, the timing was so good too, because they know that the audio's been cut, but wait up. It's going to be another quick one. Draws out the fault line. It's the same plan. Texture knows that there should be 2. There always has been, but this time it's going to be 3. And Izu doesn't need 3 as he'll get the 3K himself. Dwindles down Gen.G to 2 members and a fallen KO. Munchkin, he will get raised. Oh, but Stacks. He's going to go for the trades, and now down to a 2v2, but so low. Not even 50 HP combined between Lakia and Munchkin.
Zai's a little bit far away. Just needs to stay alive. With enough time gone, might be able to head over to a body and maybe pop off a res. I think that's what they want to do.
Yeah, and Gen.G might be looking to just gain more space. They realize that this res might be happening. The fragment just a little bit off, but that lets T1 know minimum. It's Munchkin still over here, and now that's all a ruse to try to set up Lakia. Is Saya ready for it? He is, because you don't see any further reactions, and now the immediate ultimate as well. I mean, the read is perfect from T1. The timing's absolutely ruined, and now Munchkin knows that it's going to be more about staying alive, using this time to regroup. All right, hands off.
What's
the
he
mouse
doing?
And keyboard. Now listen, I mean, you got to make sure that you're in tip-top condition.
It's like hands off mouse and keyboard, looks at his wrist for a while, scratches it.
A little bit of an itch. You don't want to get twitchy.
Oh, you gotta love it.
10 seconds left.
I mean, you can tell. That's the thing, though. Like, it's the coaching staff and the players here for Gen.G. It's not that they're not trying their best. Obviously, they're going to try to give you the best games they always have, but they just look like they are not pressured anymore, right? It always felt like they felt every round they needed to prove themselves, and to a certain extent they did. Not because they didn't have good careers, but because they never quite lifted that trophy, even as individuals. And now that they've done it, they've broken that barrier, and they realize, look at the bigger picture, right? Look at the forest, not the trees. It's all right. This round, it's already passed. Let's look towards the next one. This map, it's already passed. Let's look towards the next one. A lot more leisure here for Gen.G. Zizou, yeah, catches a bit of a break here in this round.
Forest, not the trees. And that's really what's keeping Gen.G in this game, too. I might even go so far as to say it's actually scary to face off against an opponent who looks this comfortable, even in uncomfortable situations. So timeout being called right now, and they're trying to find a way to cement their lead. T1 has started to stage a little bit of a comeback, going for some of these reads, going for some of these counter plays, holding down that elbow position.
And Rossi speaking a lot of his mind as well. See what he's picked up to share with his teammates as Xcura trying to digest all of that from his teammates and the coaches. But of course, this is Gen.G's timeout, so T1's job is to try to read the minds of Solo and HSK and Munchkin as the IGL of Gen.G. Guardians coming out once again. A couple of them in the hands of Gen.G. Looks like Charon might want to try to even out. The econ not in the best place for Gen.G. No matter what they do, the numbers are going to be all over the place. but they'll just trade who's going to hold the Vandals, a bit more of that power weapon, who's going to be in that position. Meteor and Munchkin always going to be sticking with that Guardian. That's an early Tiles crunch, fault line, paranoia, everything thrown out there. And Gen.G, they were somewhat ready for it, but Isu still gets one. And that's the KO.
Yeah.
Cypher ult used, but it's a 2-2 split. Not the best of information. They identify where it is weakest. And Rossi, he realizes, oh, that's a rush. Lots of footsteps, calls for the backup. Is T1 aware of the lurk? They seem somewhat wary of it, but the timing of it. How quick is it going to be? Meteor lets them know. Everyone rushing. I heard two sets of footsteps. We spotted 2 of them on A site. And a bit of a blunder here from T1. They let all the audio go over to Gen.G, and the spike will be planted. Thrash used, but numbers advantage in this 4v3 retake.
And this rotation, you know, takes a little bit of time for T1 to get over onto the B site. Maybe 10 seconds. You don't have that much time to clear out the entire site right now. Surely you anticipate that it's such a tough fight. Lakia still has the shock darts texture, incredibly sharp. The smokes have been set up. They're watching the angle. Karen's set up on top. So sharp with an triple kill. Almost the 4th Lakia, nailing it down. Gen.G on top.
Oh, man.
Round in
The off angle, above the smoke, on the box. And Karen takes them all down. And you can tell, like you said, Quack, the rotation takes so long that Excurid, he's rushing it. He's Shrouded stepping forward wherever he can just to try to open up the angle, open up the site for his teammates. But even then, they're not able to get all the information they need. Saya tries to go for the trade, but meanwhile, Stax and Rossi not able to follow up. Karen giving them a piece of their mind. He's enjoying it, and now it's back to the rush onto elbow again. But again, not full commitment. Just holding off, seeing if there's a reaction. Get that ult door for Lakia. See, maybe, just maybe, you might need that Hunter's Fury in that post plant.
This is crazy. Gen.G always, you know, seemingly aggressive, but they're just getting close enough, within distance, to deliver a deadly strike. If they sense a bit of danger, then they're going to taper back, and that's what makes them so dangerous. They can always adapt. Their game plan is so flexible.
And now that jump peak texture ahead of it, but not able to land the kill itself. Stax taking a bit of chip. Now surely you're ready for it. Stax tries to fake it out, but texture, he has seen this time and time again. Reads right through the bluff. Takes out Izu, and that's the call for the execute, but Stax on site. Trades on to elbow. That's an ace for Stax. Welcome to T1.
T1, Stax is here to play. Did not miss anything at all. Back on the signature agent of Breach, and he's here to deliver that ace to Gen.G.
An ace bathed in red for Stax. Might as well start getting used to it, folks, because he's here to prove the new colors. Now going up against Gen.G. 5-7 in the half. Anybody's game. As T1 looks to try to win another pistol in this best of 3 to start their comeback.
Just holding down the ground, and despite all the reads, despite all the conditioning, given enough time. He is here to stay. Gen.G, you know, they still have their work cut out for them. Maybe not really feeling the pressure so much, and that's truly the mindset that they kind of need to be in. So you gotta admire the leadership from them. But again, this matchup, it means so much more if T1 can bring it home. Championship points sitting at 4 right now, and they need the number to go up, up, and up.
Look at this. The focuser, he's making calls throughout this too. Look at the comms. Wow. And he's just ready for it. Never, ever let the possibility happen.
Oh, look at that.
Hyping it up.
You gotta love it. I thought Data said, you know, Stax is the one keeping Rossi down, but...
Well, I mean, I think he is in some ways, because Rossi now, he's not trying to hype himself up. He's
Sure.
just happy to watch Stax play it his heart out.
Yo, 5 merchants all across the board.
I mean, T1 trying to look a little bit rejuvenated, and now it's going to be a B stack. You've got that Sage. And ever since PRX showed us these types of comps in the offseason, of course, them with the KO. That Sage over here on B, an absolute menace if they're able to get onto the site.
Alongside that Gecko as well, the teamwork, if it can stay tight, stay strong and clean, might be a little bit difficult for Gen G. That said, though, I do not want to count them out. Still, got this off angle. They're trying to get pinched.
Yeah.
Just in a good enough position to deny that wingman. Now the spike's out in the open. Izu able to take a frag off, though.
Yeah, Meteor will have to reposition. His ghost does get hurt. He tried to only fire one shot to fake them out. He's trying to get ahead of the wall. Does he find the opening? The cyber cage goes up, but Rossi already too fast into it. The wall perfectly placed. They'll still watch the small crack as well. Saya aware of the limitations of the Sage here on the B site. Texture with a fast flank. He gets one on stacks. That's the breach down. They have to clear the flank first if they want to have any peace of mind. Needs to be a double team. Texture buys time for his teammates. Trying to go and stick the defuse. Karen gets one, but Saya with a quick trade. Nobody on the spike just yet. Texture now coming back to try to open it up for Meteor, who gets two. The reload. Saya, now he knows. Texture's coming in from one side. He can't get through the wall. He's holding it close. And the swing. Texture, the jet for Gen G, does it all here in the pistol of the second half, winning both pistols on Sunset.
Always so active, always so deadly. And it's not just the fact that he won out those pistols, not just the fact that he won out that one-on-one. He had the decision to swap that Sheriff back over for a Ghost, knowing that that could have been a close quarter duel, and my Sheriff wouldn't be that good in that sense. So incredibly smart stuff from Gen G overall. I mean, Meteor having the sense to drop down that cyber cage, play around the wall as well. Gen G, that fight early on, so comfortable, so happy.
You love it. You love to see it from Texture. He just loves Valorant. He said it himself. That's what got him to grind through the 4 years to try to see the light of day internationally. He always had the hype around him in Korea, but didn't have the title to back it up. And now, just able to play the game he loves, continuing on the big stage. T1 on the attack on an eco. It's not going to feel good. On paper, they have to give this round up, but they'll do whatever it takes. A bit of a high-low double team between Saya and Skirit.
Reactions!
Again, it always just takes that one round for Texture. Just one round. He sees the shots landing, he goes, oh, that's the Valorant I remember. And then it just doesn't stop for the rest of the map. Found anybody here. Oh, that timing should be good with the Dizzy, but they're not able to find the target fast enough. He's still alive, he's still dashing, he's still jumping, and still waving into the site.
Are you kidding?
And the Bulldog here now to cover. T1 Xcurrent, not what he bargained for. He was hunting the rabbit, but now the Tigers are all here on the site.
30 seconds left.
Lakia once again playing a bit of an off angle around the smokes. The paint shell's trying to clear close. They're trying to push him out of the smokes, but they haven't quite cleared him on the side. Rossi actually goes down to his teammates' paint shells amidst all the chaos. And Stacks not able to find the headshots on the first couple peaks. He will go down. Only one kill going over to T1. Gen G, meanwhile, leading 9-5.
I mean, into the Lions, well, the Tigers' den, and they're gonna hear them roar. It's just so good, so sharp how Texture fights off this. B hops away, Lakia instantly here to receive the rest of the team. And apart from roaring, I guess you're gonna hear Gen G laugh all the way downtown. You had to bring up the stage before, Will, and you know what? Not only does he have the title now, he has the trophy, which is right there on the stage.
Yeah, Gen G, you can just tell that now with that burden off their back, they're able to play much more to their own liking, to their own pacing, and they've still got a full stage 2 to maybe throw out some experiments. Meteor trying to dance around the boombot, trying to find an opportunity, but he will have to back off for now. The paranoia is good. It opens things up for Izu, but they don't quite have full control yet. Finally, taking down Meteor. Lakia and Texture gets a trade each, trying to hold down the crossfire. Skirit fires back. Now they know they've targeted them all the way through. Dizzy sent out, so you still have the numbers advantage 3-2. Wall will be used to make sure that there is no rotate. Saya positioning himself above.
Blocks it off a little bit too. Tougher retake for Gen G now, despite, you know, making it actually winnable. Spotted out the angle though, Karon. Just right underneath. Now Lakia on the other side, pushing past the smoke once it dissipates. It's all down to Rossi. 1-on-2. Clear angles, but no escape route. He has to land every single shot.
It's a good off angle, but the smoke forces him to bounce out. He needs to juggle it, and he will. That's a triple for Rossi. A costly buy round, but a win nonetheless to put the 6th on the board.
slowly coming back into the
Tapi-
game. Genji, they've managed to win out those
Buangnya
pistols,
habis.
but T1 just answers right back. A good clutch, a good way to recover.
Byron
Just
mati
hang
4
on
anjir.
to this numbers advantage. Genji are always deadly, but you gotta admire how T1 has the better teamwork and protocols this time. Excurate deliberately staying far behind, tossing out that utility to aid his teammates, and then to go in forward. And then at the same time, once they have the information, Rossi knows how to nail it all down.
And he's trying to check all the corners, but that means that he's not going to land on his feet fast enough. Weapon not drawn out on elbow. They do spot Charon. They know that Lakia was there as well. The thrash immediately going to be used. T1 doesn't want to miss a single beat, but
Yeah.
the 0 point to shut it down. Thrash set back into the dimensions. And now T1, they have to reset, but they have so little control of the map. Everything banking on that Thrash opening up the site for themselves. What a call from Munchkin.
Very good stuff. And I gotta say, this is where Genji feels the most comfortable within range to strike down T1. T1 has to watch their backs. They're waiting for the cooldown to go off. And here comes the Thrash. Unfortunately, not quite able to spray it down, and that's the go button for T1. Excurate presses on the pressure. Sean steps into the back of sight, waiting for those flashes to go through. He wants his teammates to keep alongside him, able to burst down Texture. That off is far gone. Texture, he's not there anymore, and Excurate will find the final 2 frags to give himself the quad.
Excurate's had a rough day. Let's just say it like it is. I mean, the IGLing, that's already a tough job, and he just hasn't been able to win a lot of the duels we're used to seeing from him. But that 4K, you gotta imagine that pumps some energy back into his veins, brings him back on board. His teammates have to hype him back up, because boy, did he call a good map on Lotus to bring them here onto Sunset. And now he's leading the charge, leading by example here on this execute.
Ooh. Look at him being pumped up. That is the Excurate that we want to see.
Cover going out.
There you go, the energy now coming back in.
7 to 9. They can definitely stage a comeback, Will.
Did good.
See if it can happen. It is the Sheriffs of Genji. This might be sometimes when they are the deadliest. You win a couple of these thrifties, that makes all the difference between winning a best of 3 or not. Small set play from Genji to try to pressure him in, but knowing their weaponry, they will not greed for it. Right now, just trying to set up Texture for success. Trying to make sure that they can route everybody towards these Blade Storms and let Texture fly high to try to keep the lead.
And good call from Excurate too, because they're anticipating this, knowing not to disrespect or count out Genji when they are on this sort of thrifty buy. That's why they're playing that early default, but now that first 30 seconds have passed, rendezvousing, regrouping, back into that B site. The camera though, I don't know if that's something that they're gonna anticipate at all. Meteor might just be in a prime position to strike them down.
Oh, the tripwire is good, but the backup even better from T1 as they're trying to back in. Never mind, Charon's backup, absolutely monumental. Bracing sound goes through the ground, finds a 3rd kill as well. Stacks trying to make sure that they have control of the site. The spike has been planted. It's a battle for time. Charon says he's not done just yet. Gap big enough to walk through it. Excurate, good timing on it, but Charon even faster on the jiggle. The round should be going T1's way, all things considered. Oh, never mind. We did not consider all the things as you see the spray. And Charon, he wants to get it down! The ace through the stun!
Singularity Sheriff sends T1 into the Shadow Realm. What is that?
What an ace. I mean,
He was stunned in that last shot. What?
2 incredible aces here today between Stacks and Charon. But this one, right as the stun comes out, I mean, banking on Charon to defend him, Lakia stakes it with full faith. And again, those Sheriffs for Genji, you can't count it out, but T1, they don't want to slow things down. They don't want Genji to find room to breathe. Trying to punish any type of buy here from Genji. They do have the Showstopper. If they can get close, you have Resurrection and Showstopper. The raise is going to be full sent into the site. Genji, surely aware of this, trying to find a bit of a closer angle to hold. But now they'll have to back out. The Rays needs to stay alive for this to work, and he goes down. 0 point now, trapping everybody at elbow. It's just a spray down for Munchkin. And Karon finishes off the fourth. Stacks all alone, gets a little bit of revenge to Karon, but it's not going to be enough for the round. As Gen G now 2 rounds away from closing things out in this best of 3.
My God, just so unfortunate. Right calls from Execute from before, you know, trying to play against Genji, trying to be careful against Genji's thrifties. Now back into it. Texture onto the Outlaw, just kind of falling back. Same plays from before. They anticipate how T1 wants to push up, and they just shut them down correctly. Izu falls, the rest of them fall along with him, and it's just that devastating. 7-11, Will. The timeout is being called. Chancellor's running out for T1 to really try to cement their position in this Pacific Stage 2.
This timeout, it's got to be everything from T1. Obviously their last timeout, but of course, you want to make it a streak all the way through, because otherwise the best you got is overtime. Gen G just needs one more round win to get to match point. I mean, sure, send a round of applause to T1 for the work they've shown so far. They look stronger, they look a bit more decisive, a bit more consistent in the calls they're making and the confidence they're showing. But like Coach Data said in the pregame interview, you don't have any room for error in Stage 2. That Stage 1 was rocky, it was rough, and you weren't able to prove anything further at Masters Shanghai. And T1 needs to give it all.
Everything that they've possibly got. 4, 5 rounds just to put them back up for match point. That Lotus was amazing. It was decisive. But now they need even more. 4 ultimates in the bags. Can they make it happen? Starting things off with a slight default.
Operator now online for Texture as well, something that T1 will have to consider looking at the econ of their opponents. But like you said, cutting the noise, an age-old trick, something that Gen G used a lot of internationally to try to get ahead of their opponents. But that 0 points ready. They know with the number of ultimates one has, it surely has to be a set play. And that 1 0 point could ruin it all, but Izu swings out when Texture least expected. We haven't seen that type of reaction for Texture in a long time, but Izu just completely throws him off his balance. Op recovered. Currently in the hands of Munchkin, he'll have to send it all the way back. Wants to make sure that it doesn't go into the hands of their opponents. Keep it a mystery. The 0 point had to be used. That's a bit of an opening for T1. Do they recognize it? If they can go through before that 0 point comes back, they'll find that timing. Send every ult. You want to make sure you get whatever rounds you can when you can get it. Full control of the site. Cam not cleared just yet. Finally gets erased. Wall up, and Izu finds the kill onto Meteor as well. Ready for the pop flash. Not ready for that. What the world is that?
Just walked right into his barrel. The muzzle's going off in the face of Munchkin, unfortunately. Second thrash now going through. Karon, though, able to peek out, takes down Izu. Aimer for Aimer, and that's going to be it. Now the call to save. I mean, Gen G obviously trying to preserve this operator for Texture. They have some rounds left that they can, you know, still play alongside this. So that's why I'm a little bit worried. Although the spike is going to go off. Gen G is still a team that you want to watch out for. Lakia now getting traded off by Rossi. 8-11. But Gen G are still very much in the game. I'm worried about the ultimates that was just spent from T1's side.
Yeah, Gen G's really looking at the long con. Because sure, they have the credits. You can still buy an operator for Texture if you really want it. You can muster up some sort of buy. But that means if you lose the next round, now you have to go into just one chance every 2 rounds, and you don't have many of those against T1's current scoreline. So you say, all right, they use 2 ultimates, we keep the operator. That gives us basically still every round left to try to keep the lead, to try to stop them from overtaking us. But the bad news is Rolling Thunder is now online here for Stacks. Early fault line, perhaps being trained up down B main. He tries to hold for as long as possible, and T1 knows this. They already got taken out a couple rounds before by Texture just waiting past that boom bot. They don't take that risk.
Just trying to be careful.
Fault line at the ready to try to make sure that he can check that first corner, but he needs to make sure he doesn't peek too wide.
Oh, but positions. Genji getting a good read for this, shifting weight over onto the B site.
But do they have a backup plan for this Rolling Thunder? I mean, yeah, you have the null command, but you're not going to have to stop the actual launch of that ultimate. And there it is. The Rolling Thunder still comes out. No command used, but they will have to respect it. Give space, but Meteor, he actually dodges it. He's pushing all the way through, and he gets two!
Neuro theft off as well. Stax able to fire back, but now their positions have been revealed. Genji has the numbers. Lakia might be on the A site, but he's going to start moving now. Starting to go in for that lurk, that flank. Rest popped off by Saya player to give T1 back to even numbers.
They gave the spike over to Excurate. They have that Omen ultimate. They're just going to full send it. They realize if the op isn't mid, surely the site is empty. But that's a counter ultimate from Charon. Stacks against one, but right now Excurate, he's all alone. He cannot try to stick the spike just yet, because then he's just going to get swarmed. 10 seconds left. Backup needs to arrive, but Texture is ready for it. He misses the first shot. Izu gets the kill, and now Excurate starts to plan. Charon all alone in no man's land. How in the world does T1 flip this round?
I don't know if that was Excurate's calling or what, but that mid-round decision was fantastic. And that spike will, of course, go off, as it should, for T1 to celebrate. 9-11 now, a little bit closer. Just sliding and gliding past Texture's line of sight with that operator.
The fact that they don't rush it, I mean, sure, it's a Hail Mary, but they don't rush it right off the bat. You don't want to take that risk, because then the round's really over. You still try to take all the way to mid. That way the backup can arrive just in time. You even get sight of the operator. That gives you confirmation that it has to be weak on the site, because surely Texture doesn't play alone that far ahead.
Wow. I mean, lots of things happened in this round. Great calling, great plays from T1. But I am still a little bit worried. I mean, Meteor having the sense to push through that smoke using his cyber cage. This double kill was fantastic. Aside from that, though, once again, it's those ultimates being spent from T1. Sure, it gives them the round, but that long con will, I'm getting a little bit worried.
Yeah, now it's going to be back down to just matching Econ for Genji. Sure, you tried to save the operator once, but it's not going to happen a second time. Early recon to counteract the utility on A. Perhaps trying to make sure that you're able to control the outdoors as well. Make sure you have a stronger chance in one of these rounds to get to match point first. And that's going to be Lakia, now 2 points away from the Hunter's Fury. T1 does hear that. We'll see if they go for a reclear. Still plenty of time, but full mid control, full B main control. Now door broken. It's going to be a pinch. Paranoia sets up for market. Counter Paranoia, but it's still going to be that 1v1 against Meteor. Cyber Cage.
Along with the fragment as well, on the spot from Munchkin. Charon and Munchkin will continue to fire through. Good trades from Rossi and Izu, though.
And Meteor's still alive over at B-main. I don't know if they realize this at all. Rossi's not ready for it. Stacks, thankfully, does get the trade. Spike recovered. Now waiting, gets pinged. Texture dashes in, sees Izu, and he sprays him down. Realizes Izu's sticking to it with the tracers. Stacks tries to draw them out. Here's the Sheriff. Goes for the fault line, wants to get the peek onto one. He wants to isolate the 1v1s, but can he do it? Now they've grouped up. It's a 2v1 no matter how you cut it. And Genji, no reason to rush. All you need to do is group up, and the timing in favor of Lakia and Texture. Texture gets to spam through the wall, and match point for Genji in what is an absolute marathon in our first game of day 2.
It has been right around that edge for the longest time. Genji finally reaching to it in such a fashion too. Meteor having the sensing to go in for that flank, and at the same time, the two of them sticking together again against Stacks. So painful. T1 almost making it all the way to the end, but now they have to push this to overtime.
See if they can do it. Yeah, you're only a couple points away from your own ultimates as well, but you do spot Charon. You hear the Shrouded Step, so he decides he's going to save the paint shells. We'll just use the boom bot for a little bit of information. The paint shells, of course, ever so precious to try to clear out some of these Cypher util as well. Now B-main back in control for T1, but not much outside of that. Still have to clear it just to be sure. You can't cross too cleanly. All right, Dizzy gets full confirmation. Ult Orb now for the taking. Rossi will have Thrash if he's able to pick that up. And Gen.G, it looks like the position once again, it might be a setup for Meteor. If that ultimate comes online, he might be the one that swings around to cover for the trade.
Great position from
Ambil.
Gen.G, very defensive.
Yeah, I mean, look at that, right? It's either Karen or Meteor. One of them is going to be alive if the Thrash comes through to make sure they cut off the backup. Saya player, does he find the kill? That's a big one. Weakens out, yeah, the B side. Draws out the 0 point as well, and nobody gets tagged. This is just working out perfectly for T1.
Surely you just press in off of this, right?
Absolutely, but this may be a little greedy. No, you saw the wall break. Oh, that's not a good sign. Saya quickly calming everything he just saw. And the Thrash goes in, but Karon goes ahead of it. They have no idea that he has support. He wants all the information. He wants the spike.
Oh
he
no,
wants
oh
Karon
no.
holds it down for Gen.G. Only 10 seconds left. They will get the spike plant, but Texture, they have no idea where he's coming from. They've never seen him in this round. It's now a 1v1. Saya versus Texture! The reigning champion from Masters Shanghai brings it home for Gen.G on their first day of VCT Pacific Stage 2.
They stay on top, the best team in the world. Gen.G shows that they do not drop a single beat, even after coming off of Shanghai, even coming off of not a lot of time to rest. They just drop right back in and they are good to go. They are golden.
What a showing from Gen.G. Quite frankly, if these were any other circumstances, we would say what a showing for T1. But as Coach Data said, they needed every single win to guarantee themselves into playoffs. I believe obviously there's still chances, but now there's a lot of other formulas at hand. So T1 will have to go back and continue to iterate and build on some of the silver linings we saw today. However, the biggest thing here is going to be that Gen.G continues to stay strong off of their victory from Masters Shanghai.
I mean, the mental fortitude that they have, Will, they just never, ever felt uncomfortable. Timeouts were called, sure, but you can see that they were happy. So our analysts, I gotta ask you, who is the best team in the world?
Find that out. We're gonna find that out one of these days, but currently it is Gen.G, and they continue to prove why. Taking this the distance, but still closing it out in a very convincing fashion against T1, who was honestly, you know, trying to fight for every game that they could. But I mean, this is what happens when you go against the best.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard fought for T1. Honestly, I think a very good performance to come in to just have very recently added stacks to the roster and put up this strong of a performance. I think it's a very good sign for the future. Unfortunately, they need every game that they can possibly get. And dropping this one, albeit, yes, to the best team in the world at the moment, it still does hurt them. It hurts their odds of making it into the playoffs, of making it to champions here in Seoul. But what an entertaining game, just straight out. I mean, the Lotus, yeah, whatever, miss me with that. That was boring. That was one-sided. But maps 1 and 3, bangers, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed every single moment of it. It could have gone either way, because again, T1, it didn't look like they were, you know, on the back end of things. They were neck and neck with Gen.G here, and it only needed to maybe go one more round their way, and they could have turned things up to maybe an overtime, maybe even the series win.
While Gen.G did come back with a trophy, T1 did also qualify for Masters. They qualified last year to Champions as well. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from T1 Stacks. Now that he doesn't need to make any of these calls, we're seeing the full fire power of this man.
Yeah, I mean, the ace, I mean, granted, it went straight into this one from Karen pretty much, but it's a back-to-back hero plays. But Stacks being unleashed, being able to just go ahead, fully focus on his own play, on setting up his teammates with his utility, and clearly the guy still got it. Not missing a beat, still finding that impact. And I think that, you know, right now, this team, this T1, this gives me way more faith for them if they do go to Champions, if they, you know, for the future when they go to more international tournaments, to be able to find an impact. Because I mean, you mentioned they qualified for Champions last year. They were over at Shanghai, but the success hasn't really been found from this team when they have gotten onto the international stage. Same could be said for Lock-In. But this feels like a T1 that can actually do damage to a lot of different squads. So, fingers are crossed that they can go ahead and get that qualification, they can make it into the playoffs, because this is a team to watch. As they continue to develop and continue to grow with stacks in this roster, this is going to be a very scary T1.
I mean, that's all. I totally agree with that one. It just feels like it's a lot more complete, right? We were talking about like how individualistic, or rather how good the individual plays have been for T1, but in terms of like how they also called where to go, when to go for those kind of pushes, those plays, it felt really good as well. You know, they had good timings. The only problem was when they were going up against Genji on the third map was Kalo would have some really sick positions that they weren't really kind of aware of. He just kind of pocket themselves in these certain corners, and that kind of ruins their game plan. But if he wasn't there, it looked like it was a solid, just, standard take, or a really solid take from T1.
And not only that, but some of the timings that Meteor was able to take were just so unexpected, so bold, that you don't really anticipate that somebody's going to do that. That push up through the smoke to be able to pick two. Granted, it doesn't get them the round win. T1 does turn it around, but it's things like that that just continue to break down your economy so you can't bank things up. And it just exacerbates things for you. So I don't blame T1 at all coming out of this. I expected Genji to be able to find the victory here. Shout out to William. But this was a lot more close than I could have anticipated. I think, again, it's a very good sign here for T1. But you can see the tenacity. I mean, they get 12 first kills, but they can only convert so many of those into round victories. That's just Genji. When you put any of these players up against the wall and you say, okay, make a hero play, they're probably going to do it.
And they're getting better and better at it. And Karen, I really love his performance today. We were talking about this in the last map as well. He's just really stepping up here. We only saw a bit of that at the end of Shanghai, but if he continues on this track right now, like finding his own footing within his team, who is already so good, I think this is a really good sign for Genji to continue on a very dominant track going into Champions. Do you think this is the era for Korean Valorant? Because T1's looking good too. That's right.
I think it is, honestly, because I feel like before, at least what came to me, comes to mind when you think about Korean Valorant is, lots of playbooks, very methodical play. Now it's on the moment thinking, great individualistic players, and then that kind of just meshes well together, and then you have explosive plays as well. So it kind of evolved over time, and I think now is the time for them to kind of reap the benefits of what has already turned to be the new style, I think, of Korean Valorant.
Yeah, what do you make of that, actually? I think T1 was already evolving. We saw bits of that since the beginning of this year. Genji definitely has managed to do a lot of that, obviously, as the reigning champions of the world, as Quack was saying. And PRX yesterday, too, switching things up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that we had kind of struggled with as far as Korean Valorant is concerned, with PRX being like the lone one that was going over and representing, was some really weak mid-rounding, but also the want to stay very rigid and structured and kind of have this, flow chart play style rather than making things happen on the fly, rather than having some more scrappy, muddy fights coming through. And Genji has kind of struck that perfect balance. Their mid-rounding from Munchkin has to these really scrappy fights and trusting in their aim, and they're hitting that balance, and now PRX is starting to do that, T1 similarly. So I think that this is just everyone kind of figuring out the current meta, the current play style, knowing that you need to have confidence in your aim.
I mean, look, the next match is going to be PRX and TALON, so I think we're going to see a bit of Southeast Asian Valorant coming up after this. But it is interesting and encouraging to see this from the T1 side. And Genji moving forward, Aserai, I don't think they're even playing next week. This is going to be hugely advantageous for them.
Very true, because again, they can just download and finally get the rest that they were probably looking forward to. So it's a good R&R, rest and research, I would say, for them. I'm not sure if we're going to go for that interview yet, but I do have a quick little poetry for Karon.
Oh,
you got the key, your car off, you're now car on and on and on, so carry on and keep carrying on. There you go.
Please rate that, chat.
Yes. You can rate it as low as you want. I'm totally okay with it.
Tag Aserai. Put your ratings for that on Twitter. Tag the man. Seth is rating it really highly right now. Great poetry. Keep up with it. Let's go to the interview.
Thank you. And all right, an interview with Master Shanghai champion. I'm Jen Lee. Joining me will be Karon from Genji. Of course, now congratulations, Karon. Today went the distance. And I know Genji are really, really good at winning when it goes the distance, but it just kind of looked like it could have gone either way. So what was it like playing against the new T1 today? 오늘 뭐 3세트의 젠지는 강하지만 그래도 T1이 워낙 잘했기 때문에 승부의 향방이 좀 어려웠거든요, 예측하기. 그래도 경기를 뛰면서 카론 선수는 어떤 느낌이었을까요?
일단 생각보다 많이 공격적이어서 그런
네,
부분들이 이제 저희한테는 좀 황당하게 작용해가지고 좀 위기가 좀 있었던 것 같습니다.
알겠습니다. Well, for us, they played a lot more aggressive than we kind of expected from them. So that kind of more aggressive than we kind of expected them. So that kind of caught us off guard. But you know, we had a good game, and glad that we were able to take the win today. Now coming in to stage 2 as the Masters Shanghai champion, you guys have leveled up. The reps are there, the experience are there, the vibe is there. You know, the bond and the confidence is there. What's your mindset coming into stage 2? 이제 트로피까지 들고 타이틀도 있고 뭔가 선수들이랑 충분히 자신감도 있고 뭔가 많은 경험을 하고 상하이에서 스테이지 2로 돌아왔잖아요. 어떤 마음가짐으로 임하고 있을까요?
저희가 우승을 했기도 했고 그래서 이제 우승 팀이니까 더 자신감을 가지고 다 팬다는 마인드로 왔습니다.
You know, we're coming back with the champion title, with the trophy, of course. So because of that, we're coming in with a lot of confidence and the mindset to slap everyone from left to right during stage 2. Now, let's talk about the tough schedule, though. You guys didn't get much time to prep for stage 2 coming in. So how are the mentals and how are you guys feeling in terms of, you know, the schedule and the physical condition of all? 이제 체력 관리도 힘들고 스케줄 관리도 굉장히 힘들 텐데 어떻게 좀 관리하고 있나요?
저희는 스케줄이 좀 빡빡해가지고 관리를 딱히 하는 건 없고 그나마 좀 연습해가면서 오히려 늦게까지 연습하지 않고 잠을 자는 그런 관리 정도만 하고 있습니다.
Well, yeah, it is a tough schedule for us. So for us, it's not about pushing us you know, out of our limits. It's more on getting enough rest and not staying up too late for practice. Just make sure that we're getting enough sleep to get us through the day and get us through the matches. Now, gladly and fortunately for you, you guys have a week off next week. And that's when the new patch starts coming in. So you guys get to sit back and watch the other teams kind of play the new patch and kind of observe what everybody else is doing. So let's talk about the new map pool and the new agent updates. How's the preparation going? If you guys had any time to prep for the new patch. 이제 또 패치가 바뀌잖아요. 다행히 다음 주에는 좀 지켜볼 수 있는 입장이 됐는데 새로운 패치나 새로운 맵풀에 대해서는 좀 어느 정도 준비가 돼 있고 어떻게 준비하면 좋을까요?
일단 저희가 인도 대회에서 헤이븐을 좀 잘 해왔기 때문에 그래서 그런 것들 믿고 그냥 열심히 하면은 잘 될 것 같습니다.
When it comes to Haven, we played this match in India during the off season, so I'm pretty confident that the map pool isn't going to be the problem for us once the new patch kicks in. I'm pretty sure if we just practice and scrim and prep the way we did for other matches, then we would be good. We should be good for stage 2. Now, lastly, Karan, I heard that ace that happened today was your first ace ever. What was it like? Ace 어땠어요?
야미.
Okay, yummy ace. Hopefully you get more of those in the future. But thank you so much, Karan, for the interview. And best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Well, that was Karan, everybody. And stay with us for the second match up for the day. Because right after the day break, we have PRX and TALON Esports coming up.
efficient because these guys just play contact. So
Okay, Team Secret, we need you guys on the stage now. Come on, let's go.
let's go.
Let's go.
Tara, tara. Let's go.
Anjir.
Red Bull gives you wings.
立ちグループ100周年。私たちは愛する立川にかつてないワクワクや感動に出会う場所を作ってきました。そして今大きな夢の実現に挑戦しています。立川と世界を文化、芸術、スポーツでつなぐ。私たちが愛する立川を世界に愛される都市に。立川と世界をつなぐ立ちグループ。
Red Bull gives you wings.
Gotta go. 30 seconds. Go. Next. Last player standing. Here.
Back soon.
Too slow. Gotta go. Almost ready. Here we go.
Aduh, anjing.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Mati.
Shortcut. Enemy spotted.
One enemy remaining.
Here. Ow.
Hilang aku ikutin anjir.
Nice drive.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Yeah. Area's clear. Too slow. It's over.
Oh, you little homie!
Last player standing.
Belum nyampe.
One enemy remaining.
My buddy's defusing. Nice.
One enemy remaining.
Rash is ready. Wingman's on defuse. It's all you, little homie! Rash, hit him!
Clutch.
Get five at him! My little guy did it! Get him, Wingman! My Wingman's down. Got him.
One G defend their title, their trophy today, but we're gonna jump straight into match 2, PRX and TALON Esports.
Forsaken? Where are your pants? The TALON PaperX pants?
Oh, I give it to fans.
You gave it to a fan. Who's that fan?
It's Cruz.
You gave it to Cruz. Right, I'm gonna go check it out.
Thailand represent the pants, bird and dinosaur. Get it from Shopee.
Nice.
Oh my god, that was so much happening there. Well, you know what? Cruz likes to dance, and I guess the governor is joining him here. Let's talk about their previous matchups. They like to go the distance. They usually go 3-map per series. Are you still recovering for what just happened?
Apparently the T in TALON stands for touche.
Tushy.
Yes.
Let's talk about the video game. I'm too old for this. Yeah, 2-1 every time. We go the distance. Paper X got the 13-0. Talon were able to rally back and, you know, made it a competitive series.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I'm still thinking about pants. But it's pretty cool. I like that collaboration. And you know what? If you're going to get a 3-mapper from these two, you might as well, you know, just see them constantly combining here into elephant pants, even though there are no elephants on it. Yeah, so I think this is really exciting. Yes, Team Secret is probably the only team to consistently defeat Paper X from Southeast Asia, but Talon really pushes Paper X, and it makes you question sometimes, like, oh, is Talon actually going to take this? That said, Talon's been looking really good, but they did get 13-0'd on this particular map.
They did. But again, being able to rally back after a 13-0, always a very good feat. We saw that from Zeta, you know, we were able to close things out on Sunset versus TRX just yesterday, and Talon, very much the same when they did square off against Paper X. The question is, does it happen again? They would like to avoid that. But can they also get the upper hand? Because Talon, we haven't gotten the seed since the first round of the playoffs. They were in that risky position of being in the single elimination portion of the bracket. They weren't able to find that victory. They get knocked out. But this is a squad that has had an immense amount of growth throughout this season. So we have big expectations for them, given that they have had more time to cook things up.
Now, we're looking at Forsaken and Ben here, the flex players from both sides, Asterai, and I think they are our key players for a reason.
Absolutely. My kind of title for this is the clash of the two hyper-aggressors, right? But then it's kind of different at how they kind of approach that aggression, where if you look at, you know, the key player for Paper X, Forsaken, he's actually taken a far less aggressive role in a way where he's kind of let the reins be held by Jing as well as something, and he kind of just plays from the back end, kind of supporting the team, pushing with the team when he needs to, and then Ban is kind of like old Forsaken when he was the one that was looking for a lot of those, you know, a lot of those kind of create opening kind of plays, whether he's going to be on the Yoru or the Killjoy, it doesn't matter. If he feels like his team is in trouble, he's going to try to do something to kind of elevate or, again, create those openings.
Yeah, so the last time we saw these two face off, you were just mentioning it, Achilleos, and it was a really tough position for Talon. They really almost made it. They could have been there in Shanghai, but if they didn't have to face Paper X in that really, you know, that really tight game at the end of stage 1, and a lot of their play style is not that different from Paper X sometimes.
No, it really isn't, and I think the Talon, especially with some of the changes coming in next week, with those on the horizon, they're in a really good spot, because I still think about that opening game that we had from them at kickoff, with Governor coming out playing that Neon, and with the buffs coming through, I think that is a really big boon for him. So, curious to see how they look right now as we get ready to round things out. Do we get another little send-off for Breeze, perhaps, before it's gone?
Maybe. Paper X has done it in the past, where they picked Icebox, and they said it was just for
yeah, they did it just because they wanted to say goodbye to it.
Yeah.
And they played CTRS for the first time, and he played Gecko, which was way ahead of the Icebox meta, mind you.
Yeah.
But speaking of Icebox, Talon going to be picking it up.
Yeah, no Breeze, so they are not going to send it off.
And I think that that is wise.
Yes, seeing how that went in Shanghai, I think Paper X has, in a way, have had more time to recover, getting knocked out earlier than expected. But Talon has definitely been cooking. Frost is, you know, he's shown, Cruz as well, standing next to him, has shown how hungry they are for this.
Yeah, it feels like at least coming into this series, we're not going to be going into uncharted waters. We're still having Icebox, we still have Sunset here that's a Paper X pick, so we're going to be seeing, I mean, the El Clasico of something playing as that Gecko once again. I wonder what's going to be the last one.
And Frost is giving some thoughts, but saying, I'm not afraid of the 13-0, but still opts to ban away the Lotus.
We're ready for it.
And this is kind of what I expected that they would do. Bind being left open is actually quite interesting, because Paper X, they haven't had the most convincing performances on that map. So if it does end up going to 3, they could be in a bit of a rocky position.
Yes, that's right, actually.
Yeah,
that was an
and that was
handshake.
the map that Talon won against them during the playoffs as well. The one map that they took off of PRX in that best of 3. So also just kind of something to point out there.
Yeah. And Icebox will be the first map of today. Talon picking this. PRX, you know, historically haven't been great on Icebox, but they showed a different Icebox stage 1 and have definitely performed better, especially putting Jing on that stage. We've seen, you know, some surprising moments there in a very good way.
Yeah, I mean, when they finally decided to leave the Icebox open and to even pick it, it was kind of shocking how good they had looked on that. And I mean, overall, their record here in Pacific still good, 3-1 in that regard. Just a 50-50 for the side of Talon, but I'm looking for the changes in these compositions. So I'm looking to see if there's going to be any differences. DRX of all teams showed us one yesterday by bringing Clove into the mix, you know, kind of pulling from FPX, taking some inspiration there. Do either of these teams opt to do it? Having spoken to Alex in the past, he doesn't think that Clove is particularly good, so maybe he's swung around on it. We'll have to just wait and see. But for Talon, they've had a lot of time to iterate on this composition to make some changes, so I'm curious if they also maybe feel inspired after seeing DRX's performance.
Yeah. Just to kind of add to that as well, I felt like one of the biggest issues that a lot of teams, including Talon on Icebox, they just don't know how to either hold a site or know when to fight for the site. You know, they kind of just default at the back of the site. They get flushed by the 2 initiator combo, and then they just kind of get isolated. No one can really help them because they're stuck outside of the site. And the other answer to that is just fighting for A main, but then teams are also aware for that. So where's the balance right now that Talon has to kind of bring? And, you know, so Achilles was mentioning about it, is it enough, the time that they were away kind of, you know, playing in the labs, seeing what works and what not, enough to go up against, you know, PRX here on Icebox?
Well, they've definitely been working very hard in the lab. Let's pull up our predictions now. And there we go. All right.
Yes.
So William.
He's just going for the red teams today.
Yes. That was you yesterday.
He's like a bull. He just, you know, they don't actually do that. But, you know.
But in, you know, the
being
cartoon
a contrarian
version. Okay. PRX, yes, they qualified to Shanghai, and interviews with the players, a lot of them across the board, when they said who's going to be in the grand finals of stage 1, even in champions, most of them said PRX or Gen G. Is there a case for Talon here?
Oh, for sure. I don't think that this is nearly as clear-cut as these predictions make it, you know, seem.
Yeah.
I think that Talon absolutely could get this series. I mean, again, they were able to rally back after going 0-13 versus PRX. They were able to push the squad. They've had a lot more time to get things prepared. PRX, granted, they didn't spend a ton of time in Shanghai, but they also didn't spend a ton of time preparing and, you know, scrimming and getting ready for this meta, you know. So I think that Talon, with the amount of time that they've had to sit back and really reassess their in-game strategies, their compositions, I think that they could come out and they could absolutely catch PRX off guard.
Definitely. I think that's a really good point. The fact that Talon was here and was able to scrim, practice over here in APAC with anyone that they want. PRX wasn't in Shanghai for that long, but still, they were limited to only practicing with the China Valorant scene instead. And, you know, it's just a very different scene over there. And Astra, you made a really good point, you know, going back to what you were saying with Forsaken and Ban. I mean, what does this mean for their other players on PRX? Like, what are the chinks in this armor that need to be remedied?
So I think team versus team, in terms of like overall strength, it has to be PRX in this series. But coming from that Shanghai, I think that chink in the armor is their kind of is their duelist. That is something as well as Jing here. Something I think has been underperforming on Shanghai. So has he recovered from that is going to be a big question. Is he going to be, you know, kind of taking those unnecessary fights, getting picked off? At least one of those things that you kind of have to watch out for going into the series.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a very exciting series, and we know that for sure. It's probably going to be a 3-mapper. Let's go over welcome PRX and Talon Esports.
PRX. Undefeated. That's why they call me undisputed. Talon Esports. I've been up on my stats. Now would you look at that?
Lagu copyright apa enggak nih?
Culture to fire the breath. King of the jungle and beat my chest. They say I'm posing the threat. Just like a puppet, I'm cutting the net. Ring on my finger, but yes. Like clean chest and I don't even sweat.
Ooh, and the crowd is going wild for this particular matchup, welcoming our Pacific Stage 1 champions, PRX. And of course, TALON wants to soar into their first PRX victory today. Could this be it? Is today the day?
I mean, this is... You're in a good position right now if you're TALON. You can have some things up your sleeves to try to catch PRX off guard. PRX, similarly to Genji, likely going to be feeling tired after their bout over in Shanghai. So I think that this is the moment to strike. If you're going to be able to get that victory and take down the squad, get one step closer, one more championship point towards champions in a couple months' time, this should be it. So curious to see if they're going to be able to get it done. Frost, we know how hard he's been pushing these guys to improve, to make sure that their heads are in the game. See if he's got it, but also if PRX are going to be able to bounce back. We've seen a lot of smiles on their faces, something that was certainly lacking at the end of the run in Shanghai. It seems like the vibes are right back up for them.
That's good, and it absolutely needs to be for them. I'm sure it hurts coming so close so many times on the international stage, but here they are back again, and smiles back on their faces, Esther.
Yeah, and this is the first time that we're going to be seeing TALON actually have Surf as part of the main roster now that I believe Lene has exited the team. We didn't really talk about this too much, but that is going to be a big factor into this because, again, we also heard how Frost was mentioning that they were so prepared for the 6-man. Now it's just down to the 5. How is that going to, again, affect I guess, how the players kind of move forward since they've been so used to the 6 switching? So, I don't know, just putting it out there.
I mean, no, it's a fantastic point. Lenny, they don't have that 6-man roster going anymore. And Frost, he was really trying that out during kickoff, during stage 1 in his interview here with us. He was all about it, but I guess he's just focusing on 5 men and making sure they've got it down.
And I think that overall that's going to be probably just better for them in the long run. I mean, it also means that we don't have to watch Sova on Split, so that's a positive. But I'm curious because the components they have here on this squad, Jit Boys especially, we didn't really get to touch on him too much. He has been an absolute menace this entire time. Curious to see if that performance is going to be continuing for me on today.
Great points, gentlemen. All right, we're going to go into the second matchup today to our Southeast Asian favorites, PRX versus TALON. Over to you, casters William and Quack.
Thank you very much. That's right. We do still have another full best of 3 waiting for us. TALON versus PRX. The Des mentioned it. It's a rematch that actually hasn't been that long ago. The very beginning of playoffs at the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and it was a 13-0-2 that was definitely felt.
Yes.
I think TALON is prepared this time, though. I mean, not only is it, that change up from the 6-man roster to the 5-man roster, it's also a PRX that hasn't looked the greatest since Pacific Stage 1.
And now we do have the Asian picks right away, and TALON Esports.
We see it.
All right, so Surf now on the main stage. Surf was always a duelist to begin with, and now they're putting him on duelist. Governor goes to the supporting role of KO, working with some of those flashes. Ban continues to stay on that Sentinel role. They've been bouncing back and forth sometimes between Ban and Surf. Of course, they have the 6-man rotation. But we'll see. Is this true for all the maps? We don't know. But here on Icebox, it is going to be Surf back in home territory as that duelist. Governor will be backing him up. And personally, I'm actually okay with this. Governor, sometimes it seemed like the pressure of trying to open up sites, trying to open up executes got to him. He was getting a little bit too far ahead of his teammates at times. And now he's able to support, knowing what the duelist needs. Ban's able to go back to that Sentinel role, hopefully have a little bit more consistency in the picks that he's playing for the team, and maybe this all comes together to form a talent that's a bit more solid at the foundation.
Yeah, it definitely goes a little bit wild sometimes, but this looks more solid, more concrete, and at the same time expecting a little bit more consistency from Jit Boys, but at the same time, same consistent picks all throughout for PRX. I mean, this might have been TALON's pick off Icebox, and PRX sticking with the same composition, but how are things going to look different? PRX needs to stay on top, while TALON definitely looking over to climb.
TALON Esports trying to make something happen, already in a decent spot to position themselves for playoffs here in stage 2, trying to get one of those absolutely precious slots going in to Champion Seoul. Missed out on Masters Shanghai, but they proved that they were here to continue on an upwards trajectory, rather. And now TALON will be starting on that defense. PRX starting on W Gaming on that attack.
Definitely still, I mean, curious thing is kind of like what I've been mentioning, right? The duelists and Forsaken, for example, needing to see a little bit more teamwork from them overall. And some technical decisions, right? But right now, just heading over onto yellow, picking up that early space. Not really tempting too much with Fake, though, as Shitboys instead gets invited out for that peek. Mindfreak shuts him down early on with the Sheriff.
Yeah, but it's going to be a quick fill back up by Ban. You still have more members than you would have expected on side of Talon, but Mindfreak's still on for it. He's not going to one getting the kill, but still it's going to be the trades here for Paper X as Talon still holding it down. Surf, though, he has no idea that he's been surrounded, and that's going to be a quick pistol going over to Paper X.
W Gaming forward. I mean, it's kills for kills, and then at the same time, Talon trying to go for some trades, but at the end of it, positionally, Paper X had a little bit more, right? Numbers advantage, yet Jing kind of creeping up from behind at the same time. Surf had no idea what to expect, so a little bit unfortunate, but that's just how Paper X operates. Playing forward, pushing through, and unfortunately Talon a little bit unaware.
Yeah, just a little bit too focused on trying to get the trades that they've already seen, not keeping tabs on the fluid movement of Paper X. Now we do see the buys coming in. Got 2 rifles, of course 2 of the shorter weapons, the SMGs here for the side of Paper X. It's going to be a fast one. They go through, they spot one, and it's another one. Gets the ding, and immediately the trade there. Doesn't want to try to hold it down with the lower ammo on the Stinger. Jing does not stop. I mean, whenever they just return to Pacific, the pacing is always there, as if it's always been home for Paper X. And Mindfreak kicking things off in high gear today for Paper X, leading the team to a 2-0 victory.
There is that pacing, and 2 alt points for Mindfreak as well, making that Bulldog bark. But at the same time, I mean, you gotta wonder how Talon's gonna recover from this, because it's very similar to how this 13-0 started. You know, not giving Talon any room to breathe whatsoever. So they're gonna have to find a way to come back from this, or at least play a little bit more defensively, because it's clear that the early head-on duels do not really work out against a team like Paper X.
And now with a full rifle buy, this is where they have to stop that bleeding. Like you said, sometimes the trauma starts to get back to you. Yeah, you try to ignore it, but it's not going to work. And now the high-low setup, they've been holding it for the entire beginning of this round. They delete the 0 point, and immediately it's too many targets for Paper X to try to pick and choose. The ante is good as well. Nice and clean from Talon. And they know Paper X, they won't stop. They'll always keep the foot on the pedal. They're ready for it even past the toxic screen, but playing it safe. Want to make sure that they have trades available with the backup. They're waiting for the flank to come through. 2 members already wrapping around for Talon.
Yeah, completely surrounding Paper X, right? The spike's still down. Paper X needing to find some sort of a positional advantage. Rayman goes in to clear, and that kind of dissuades the Paper X from pushing forward even more. Jing goes back, picks up the spike, picks up the ult orb, but that gives Ben so much information as to how he can take this duel. Spots out Mindfreak, there's the shot. Jing goes in for a spike plant.
Yeah, but he spots one on Cruz. Can he get the kill? Not going to be clean. Ban there for the backup. But if Jing had gotten that, things are starting to look a little dicey as he already got so many ult orbs. A bit of a traffic jam there on the ropes, trying to figure out who's going to go for the defuse, trying to pick up the rifles. And Cruz, of course, now 1 point away from the thrash. So, all right, we've already avoided the 13-0. You've got that monkey off your back. Now you can continue to play the game that you've prepared here on Icebox.
Stay down.
And that's kind of one of the bigger questions, too. I mean, okay, his threat very good. You can see that Talon are starting to build up these building blocks towards, you know, a better win against Paper X. But at the same time, Paper X, you know, this is just really early on. But the way that they're just continuing to push through is very classic Southeast Asian Valorant style. A lot of aim duels. Unfortunately, Paper X lost that one, and then Talon finds their advantage.
Now the Killjoy set up across both sides of A site, so it's going to be a plan to delay on A. Worst comes to worst, you'll have to retake with the toxic screen. Turret in mid as well. Try to get some information. Not a bad tag onto Mindfreak, but you're not quite sure, is that the tail end or not? You do see the attacker 0 point coming into A, so Talon, a fast rotate. Surf's still going to be holding his job to get information. He finds one, he's not sure of a second, and that's going to stop the full rotate. So to remedy that, Talon Band starts to go forward, see if there is a counter rotation from Paper X.
Checking for, spotted by Defy instead. Good little dink going through, so Ben feels the damage, but falls back over onto screens, and that is where the spike is as well. Something just holds its ground, finds the 2 shots, tailwinds into the site, and all of a sudden, the site has been infiltrated. Talon needs to find a way to fight back, but it's a little bit too hot. Governor goes goes in for the peek, but he's singled out and alone. Now the rest of them ban trying to fight back, holds off the flanks for the time being, but the spike goes down.
Surf wants to try to fish for it, but Jing still quick on the trigger against Ban. And at this point, Surf, are you going to go for the save? I mean, everyone else can buy back up, so this is one of those rounds where you do have to consider it, because you can still match on the next round. And Surf will just cut the losses nice and early in this 4th round, giving PRX their 3rd round win.
A lot more urgency in how they want to take down the sites. I mean, PRX, you know, taking a little bit of that space around pipes, finding the angles against TALON. TALON wanting to fight back, but not quite being able to make it happen. It's sometimes the site as well, without the right angles, it's tough to hold. So good call for Surf to hold on to this Vandal, but for now, needing to see a little bit more.
So TALON, again, on the minimap, we pointed it out, they're trying to make sure they react to the information that they see nice and quick, because they know that PRX isn't going to give you the time of day. Oh, but here, I mean, something's just so quick with it. The fact is, they actually heard the jet movement on top of that box, so I believe TALON was trying to fish for it as the toxic screen goes down, but something's quicker with it. And now we'll see what is going to be the attack. 2-1-2 default for PRX. Trying to make sure that they annoy and disrupt any of the Killjoy setups in mid. That's going to be Devi's job. Nano Swarm going all the way into kitchen. Not going to find anything just yet, though. Ban going to be playing around his own turret to try to fish for a kill.
Just playing it safe. Not wanting to give either team any advantage. That's oftentimes also why, you know, for PRX, the Jet heading forward because he is able to dash right back out. The rest of them teaming up together, looking for some advantageous duels, but something this time just a little bit faster than Surf right now. Opens up the A site.
This is where Surf used to shine, was holding things on his own. Sure, he was playing the Viper before, but you could let him lurk on his own, hold down, anchor a site, and then go for a timing because he was so quick with it, but it's a tough project against the likes of something. Chip Boys will try to answer back, make it a 3v4, but they are far away from the site. Econ all over the place once again, and TALON already having to play to survive rather than play to win here on the first map.
Yeah, you might have thought that 3rd round meant it was a little bit stronger, a little bit better. They had the right read at that time, but now PRX and the way that they're operating, even with a slight default, a 3-2 split across the map, it just kind of works out in their favor. I don't know if it was the positioning that kind of didn't work out too well, but yeah, Surf would have been able to take that duel, but how do you shoot something that you don't see coming? And that's the strength of having a player like Something.
PRX, sure, a bit of a rough showing at Master Shanghai, but they've always been one of the top dogs, if not the definitive top dog coming into this year here in Pacific. And a lot of that relies on the individual mechanics of these players. So Surf now being reminded of that harsh reality, and he's gonna have to step things up. You're not gonna be given the time to warm up on stage. The engine already has to be rolling. Quick adjustment there from Something.
I think they go post plant.
Okay, all right, just making some calls. It does seem like we saw it in the beginning in stage 1 as well. Something trying to be a bit more vocal, trying to make the calls from round to round. Sure, PRX, they say they go for a hive mind mentality, but somebody has to put their foot down. And so far this year, it looks like that's going on to Something's shoulders.
At least for the initial fights, trying to decide what they want to do or which direction they want to head in.
Chip Boys is trying to hold this again. He's good for one. Can he get the second? All right, now he's safe for the time being. Eventually gets taken down, but it's enough time for Ban to try to provide support, but he's not in position to get out. Down to a 3v2. Still numbers advantage and Thrash online for TALON. Devi won't spot anyone just yet. The pit goes through, but the Thrash, it's going to be a huge counter to this ultimate. Do they use it right away? Not everyone's in position just yet. Chase it off with the fragment.
Sneaking around the corners too, though. Now it's a little bit more difficult for Devi to stick the plant. Has to back off, but down goes Mind Freak, and all of a sudden, no cover available. Dizzy tags onto Devi as well, and he's got completely surrounded. A little bit of a line of sight, but not quite able to thread the needle, and 3 targets all up and down, way too hard. it's going to be Talon fighting back 2-4.
Yeah, this was a really good round from Talon. Nice and calm, even going around the Viper's pit, not going for the sprays, knowing that you have the Thrash. So if they did stick the plant, so be it. We know how to counter this, because if you just go for the blind sprays, you might show the tracers, you might give the audio, and you might make it a 2v2. I like it. Now, one of these members always trying to hold solo on yellow on the execute. I mean, sure, you want to hold on to that position, but at that point, if you don't win your duel, the round pretty much ends right there. So we'll have to keep our eye on if that is going to be Chip Boy's job every single round.
He is capable so far, positionally, always dedicated over onto the B site. Same triple stack from Talon on the A site. PRX just kind of avoiding it for now.
And it's going to be Talon spotting that Poison Cloud coming up in mid as well. Sage Wall used as a pinch on to B. But Talon, they've already committed to wanting to go for a retake. Ban finds one, he's ready for the second, but he cannot stabilize. Mind Freak just too slippery on the movement. And now Kitchen entirely in control of PRX, but Jip Boys is all alone. PRX is pinching onto him, and Jinx sends the slow orb as well. There's the resurrection. All 5 members still alive for PRX, as Mind Freak continues to dwindle down the numbers of Talon.
Spike goes down too. Might just be another safe round for Talon, unfortunately. I mean, it's these little moments where PRX seems to try to get the read against you. They're exploring all their options. Earlier on, might have been B or A site. This time, they hit down through mid. Ben caught them for the time being, but then the answer's right back. It's just something that Talon doesn't quite react in time to. Now, Sir, watching the angle. Oh, spots up Forsaken's shoulder, but Forsaken just a little bit sharper than he is.
Oh, that's a crucial mistake. I mean, sure, it doesn't change the outcome of the round, but just goes to show that maybe a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety coming into some of these players on Talon, because we know that they can shoot when they're on. But absolutely misses that opportunity. Governor, he's been spotted, the barrel has been shown, and eventually he'll just go down to the spike rather than give over an ult point over to the other side, stuck between a rock and a hard place. I wonder if a timeout comes through. Timer does stop, because I was going to say, no matter what you're hearing in the comms at this point, you have to kind of stop the energy on PRX, make sure that the energy comes back up for Talon, and they start to play a bit more as a team.
Needing a timeout, right? Well, I am curious. Between a rock and a hard place, what would you choose?
The rock is a hard place, so I don't know, quite
Which
frankly.
one is harder and more painful?
I'm just gonna not choose anything. I'm just gonna stay stuck in there. This is way too philosophical for me. But in the meantime, Talon, they're gonna choose the timeout. They're gonna try to make sure they do find an exit, because so far we're not really seeing it. I mean, yeah, you have 2 rounds. Yeah, you got the bye round, but it wasn't the cleanest one. And you know, the round 2 rounds ago, sure, that one, good read, good reaction, nice and patient. But to some extent, we're not seeing the fire we saw from Talon from stage 1. Yes, it was inconsistent. Yes, you got rocky. Yes, sometimes you would overextend. But you had energy, you had your own pace, you were always trying to take priority. And currently on Icebox, on your own pick, we have not seen that just yet from this new starting 5 of Talon.
Yeah, perhaps needing to see them go a little bit more proactive. I mean, that's what I'm wondering. With this specific switch up in terms of roles, right? You got Serve on the Duelist. Maybe they are starting on defense, but this could be the round where they switch things up. He's got the play storm, he's got the operator. Might just be able to do something with that. Lock down a lane, perhaps.
Wants to set up for the operator. He's a little late on the movement all the way over to B, but it looks like that's going to be the commitment. Pit over on A, turret at mid, so everything pointing towards that sign. Ban going for the quick retreat as he hears a nanoswarm land, so he'll be able to bring that turret back up just a bit quicker. Sprays all around. Ooh, Jit Boys, he's gonna have to watch out. He's already been chunked down quite a bit and only has a judge in hand. Meanwhile, members being tagged in mid, so PRX, a decent idea on what the setup might be. I imagine you continue to put pressure onto that pit and then start to rotate over to B. You've already shoved them away from mid. PRX has that priority. Slowly inching towards Kitchen. Hasn't been spotted by the turret just yet. Governor, do you have your sights straight? No, it's not quick enough. He tries, and there's the dash.
Wow.
The aggro drawn by something, and Jing is there for the trade. And now the pit. You're just locked in here. It's turned into a jail for Jet Boys. Can he get out? The fragment.
I don't know.
Keeps him all tied up.
Mind Freak on the lurk as well, and he just spots out Cruz. Not taking the duel, but at least this is a little bit of information for PRX. Talon still stuck between that rock and a hard place. Shit Boys unfortunately having to bite the bullet there. Paper X, that spike will definitely go off now, and the rest of them just trying to save.
Lagi.
You have to save. You got that operator. I mean, it took so long to get online. You don't have many chances to use it. Sure, you have the Blade Storm, but you're going to have to keep it. Meanwhile, Paper X, they get an inkling. They have a lot of creds no matter what. You know the ults are online for both members of Talon anyway. Now you hear the operator. They are on the hunt. They want to take this away. That all but pretty much secures the rest of the half here for Paper X. The dash has to be used. Surf knows it's a matter of time. So far, he should be safe.
Safe enough. But taking a look at the scoreline, Will, 2-6. It's a little bit too devastating. Talon needing to come back definitely right now, and they've saved up. They have to make it happen with these guns. At the same time, it's just Paper X being pretty darn good on the anticipation, right? We saw that Viper's Pit. They tried to go in for that blind fire through the smokes, trying to find Shit Boys, and it kind of works out. Maybe the idea was to funnel Paper X over onto Surf, who had the operator around the B side, but it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a little bit readable, right? And I'm not going to say that Talon didn't have further game plans. Paper X kind of breaks it apart in mid with some of those duels. But the initial part of it, we've seen it. It's an age-old thing. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it does allow Paper X to try to take back some of that tempo. And now we've got the lockdown on the ready, used early just to buy time, but they don't exactly have full control of the flank. And meanwhile, Fragment goes out. Is it going to land perfectly? Hole in one! That's lockdown gone. Spike already being held. Not the round Talon and Oak for. Now scrambling to find a position, but the Sage Wall is there for the spam as well. I mean, this retake's looking rough already. You do have the Blade Storm. That's one more chance. Dizzy comes out. That's the setup. But there's the null command just to shut it down. So now you have to work with the operator. Everyone already falling down. Talon trying to equal out 2v2. A good
2v1.
Fantastic individual duels being taken, and that's going to be Governor. He tries to push up front, but Forsaken just watching the angles, making sure that Governor stays on his feet. Paper Rex still staying on top now, 3 rounds in a row.
Talon has to stop the bleeding some way here, but they don't have the creds to do it. Still holding on to some of these ultimates. And yes, we like to talk about how you have to use ultimates. You can't just let them sit and rot, but at the same time, I mean, when was there that opportunity to try to use it? This time you get shut down by the null command, but you do want to make a move. You don't want to just sit and wait all the way to the very end of the round.
Careful.
And now the Outlaw comes out. Paper X knowing that Talon is sitting broken on the fence and finds the elbow of Governor. You just can't catch a break. The follow through from Surf, it's too many targets.
Good little punish. And Forsaken being able to swap back over as well. Cruz, good little tap, still has the thrash, but no teammates here.
Oh my gosh,
no,
no, not like this, something. I saw him reload that shorty and I thought, surely not. Well, welcome back to VCT Pacific, Paper X. Because this is what you do every time out here in Seoul. I mean, this is devastating for Talon.
Planted.
A lot of people, including myself, had a lot of hopes coming into Stage 2 because of how Talon finished Stage 1. But currently, I mean, sure, credit to Paper X as well. So far, despite the strong wins, playing as a team, not going for a lot of those ego peaks that we've seen from them time and time again, even over at Shanghai. So all the credit to the strong getting stronger. But Talon looking a bit lost.
I wouldn't say I'm super worried. We haven't seen enough from Talon. I feel like they still have the chance to really show us what this role switch is about. You know, they are just starting out on defense. But for now, I mean, that's really the main story. Paper X looking a little bit cleaner, making some more sound decisions, playing together as a team rather than individual duels. Mentally, they are looking good as they hold on to a bit more of a default, watching for that peek out against Talon. Surf, though, with the operator this time, will be able to take Jing down.
Okay, finally, an opening kill here for Surf. Something that Talon's been starving for with that operator. Key part to their game plan so far. Now the null command. Paper X will have to wait this one out. They do have the lockdown, and they've already pushed up all the way to the very opening of the site. Thrash being used to shove them back. I don't mind it. We'll get one detained. So they'll push them back, and now, if you're going to use a lockdown, it might have to be used on pipes somewhere where there's a lineup ready.
a little bit of time to
You should run.
surf. Tillman will expire, so he's going to fall back for the time being. Lockdown being expended as well. It just gives and secures PRX the site.
Spike planted.
Spike
Oh.
ready planted. Surf waiting
Sorry,
for the peek out though. Knows that PRX will be relying on this lockdown. He will get detained for his troubles, but he's already dwindled down the numbers for his teammates. They'll wait it out. And meanwhile, something holding the ground next to screens, and they're not checking for Divide. They do not hear the Phantom. Eventually, the trade comes in for Jet Boys. Chaos ensues below, but something is holding true. Shorty, taste of his own medicine as Mind Freak, a menace up top, but too many members for him to check. And Talon will finally get another round on the board.
Talon creating a little bit of their own chaos here. Serve starting things off, great shot. And then the flick onto the next one as well. I mean, just having the patience to stay on the site, not deterred by the lockdown whatsoever. Having that trust in his teammates. And this is a Talon that's starting to show a little bit of that teamwork. Sure, it gets a little bit confusing at times with Devi hiding behind, but other than that, the trades were good. That Jit Boy's shorty against something was a sight to behold.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that, hey, you're not the only one who can buy a shorty. Sure, something's the one who introduced it to VCT Pacific, but now everyone's got one in their back pocket. The operator continues. If Talon can stabilize 4 to 8, not all hope would be lost here. And now PRX trying to up the tempo just a bit, but the counter 0 point will slow them down. Forsaken waiting right outside of range with that flash drive, trying to make sure they capitalize on a potential kill here on pipes. But Talon hasn't been playing pipes, right? They've been playing much further back here. So PRX, correctly identifying that, only really investing that updraft to start to scout out, realize, okay, looks like it might be a retake setup here on A, perhaps a flood retake. See what PRX has in store for that. You do have the Resurrection, one of the best ults to counter it.
I do wonder if they might make a decision to rotate back, but it is not in PRX's style to really head backwards, so back into the site they will go, trying to deny the retakes with a lot of their utility, but so much of it is already spent. Some lineups coming in from Talon as well to deny the spike plan and buy time for the rotations to come through, and it is a pretty good plan.
The real important thing here is going to have to be banned. He has to make an opening, because right now, everyone's being funneled, everyone's being delayed so much in the back of sight. Mind Freak's ready for it. Can Ban win that duel? Right now, something's busy on the site, just delaying the main forces of Talon. Ban needs to find this kill, and Mind Freak gets the flank. Meanwhile, Cruz will get the opening kill here on the main site, but that's the rest of PRX just answering right back. And now it's just an operator Surf, not able to land the first shot. They're chasing him. They want the knife, and he says no. Jing will get the kill with a shorty.
Last round of the first half. Let's have a little bit of fun. Why not, Will? But at the end of it, yeah, it's just a little bit tough. Ben, unfortunately, maybe not really anticipating Mind Freak's position or just not quite able to secure the duel somehow. Mind Freak being a little bit quicker. At the same time, I mean, it's just rafters as well as screens. PRX had their legs locked in. PRX had their arms around Talon's necks, and it's just too much to strangle out of. So choke points being set up, and it's a little bit difficult for that retake to go through.
Yeah, I mean, Mind Freak held a very good position there, you know, sitting on that elbow position right outside of A main. Normally, you're holding somewhere on belts, and Ban, he tried to check for it, try to go wide, try to catch him off guard, and Mind Freak just one step ahead. And now, a 9-3 half for Talon. Not what they wanted with their own map pick. Taking this against PRX. Of course, we did see at the beginning of the day Forsaken and Something both very close to their 1,000 kills here in the VCT Pacific. And we do have quite a few players. Buzz are getting his yesterday. See if PRX can start to catch up with some of the other top dogs here in Pacific. Now going over to the defensive half.
This is where stretch their legs a little bit, show us what this composition, what this role swap was all about. We can see the ideas behind it, but the effects not quite felt just yet. Surely attack is where they will be able to make their stand.
Talon looking to put down the poison cloud in mid, but we'll see if they utilize it at all. It might just be some conditioning that they want to stick with for a default toxic screen on B, but that toxic screen is going to be denied real fast. PRX will discover that this has no meaning here in the pistol round. And he's ready for the mid conditioning as well. I mean, PRX just several steps ahead of Talon. Emptied out the A site. Nanoswarm's there just to delay, maybe do some chip damage. And then it's just going to be a full retake from PRX.
Not a fan of it, Will. Oh my god. 5-on-5 pistol retakes, and that could be very dangerous for either side. Want to find at least a bit of an advantage, and Talon has the space to make something happen. Devi is alone, but still relatively safe. The rest of the team have arrived all the way onto screens. Everyone's here. It's a party.
Yeah, and Governor's just going to back it out. And as we serve it, there is the wide swing of something. Well, of course, it's a trademark at this point. Devi gets 2 off of it. Something eventually dying, but it's still only 2 members, and they cannot land the shots.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
something.
I don't want to see that. I think gonna show us the replay.
Oh.
Congratulations to Forsaken with the 1,000 kill milestone.
There you go. Forsaken gets his. Something not far off. We'll see how many rounds he has to do it, though, because so far it looks like they're going to try to wrap up map 1 pretty early. Lots of fans out here for PRX. Of course, while they didn't perform very well at Masters Shanghai, they were able to pick up that title in Stage 1. Devi just picking up those kills on these straights.
Let's go! Starting to feel a little bit traumatic, Will. We've got the Outlaw back in Something's hands, and on defense, this can be really deadly. 0 point will connect. Something backs off.
Will just get shoved all the way, but here's the thing, Jing absolutely hit it on sight. Not sure if Talon's going to check for this, as they think they've already pushed everyone back all the way past screens. They're only checking Graven, they're not ready for it. And Jing doesn't green for the second kill either, waits for the trades for his teammates, repositions in hell, he's going to get stunned by the Wingman with the slow warp, trying to save him, heals past the fragment, and then the rest of PRX has arrived at screens. Governor will pick up one, but that's all he gets. A nice, calm, and patient PRX. A bit of a new look here against Talon as they lead 11-3.
Definitely something that we were wanting to see more of from this entire squad. PRX now exercising some of that patience, and it looks really, really clean, really good. Thought the 3rd round of this map might have been a different story for Talon, but then things start to revert back. A little bit unfortunate. But that is how the story goes for now. This is the time for Talon. All sheriffs because of that force buy from the previous round.
Yeah, not much you can work with here. See what you can do on the aim duels, but unfortunately your opponents are the best aimers, some of the best out here in Pacific.
Okay.
Just going to be a deep tag onto Jing, but that means Mindfreak wasn't tagged all the way up on pipes, and now you've been spotted in mid. The weaponry not exactly in your advantage. There is the pop flash set up for Devi, the run and gun, and he absolutely transfers right over, takes a couple of the turret hits, but making sure that they can still clean house, try to finish this map as soon as possible.
My God.
12-3, map point for PRX.
PRX, absolute hitmen. Every single lane being locked down. You have that Outlaw, you have the Spectre, and Forsaken to back you up. Not to mention Mindfreak swinging out at the end with the Guardian. This is just Talon, backs against the wall. 12-3 now, Will. Their own map pick. They've got the full buy.
Well, listen, I'm not saying the map's over just yet, but we have seen Talon bounce back from a 13-0. So not all hope is lost, Talon fans, in the whole best of 3, but so far on this map, it's looking rough. They will have to go for 9 rounds in a row as the Outlaw comes online, but it is all full armor on the other side, so not sure if maybe a bit of a mismatch there on the purchase. What is this? Mindfreak trying to get as far out as possible, but as he's trying to line up his toes, Ban catches a bit of an off timing, and that's going to be Ban starting to dig deep into it. Talon, no reason to rush just yet. You still have over a minute, and you have all the space, but the operator, Devi finds a kill. So much long-range weaponry on the side of PRX. Ban, he's already dug too deep, but he can't hold his ground. And now PRX ready for it. Forsaken already on site. He sees him transferring over through the ropes. Devi's there for the trade. That's 3 kills on the board. Governor trying to get the kill. He'll shut down the streak. Trying to drop down. He spotted one, but he can't land it.
Player standing.
Now a 1v1 just to stay alive.
Spike down 2 needs to be retrieved. Forsaken trying to play it safe. He doesn't
30
hear
seconds
anything
left.
yet, anticipating potentially a mid-push, but that's not where Cruz is.
Forsaken, all he has to do is just hold strong.
Cruz has utility,
He
though.
saw him, saw the barrel,
No.
but Cruz, okay, holds his ground, knows that Forsaken will have to re-peek, and he will be able to take that. Ask his teammates, but they do not want it. No operator for them. Operator dropped on the side of Paper X. Immediately something, repurchases another.
Has the bank for it, having won those 3 rounds right off the rip on the second half. But that said, not too bad of a recovery from Talon, right? Ben might have gotten a little bit too deep, but at the same time, the rest of the team arriving on the site on time and having the teamwork going for those trades, having the sense to slow things down when they needed to. Cruz, great little individual fight against Forsaken.
Early Cloudburst used this time. Over on the side of Talon, taking some early control, trying to creep up towards Box. Gardner tries to fake them out with a jump off the ropes, but something's ready for it. 2 members already down. There's the quick swing. Surf expects it, reads the tendencies of Paper X, but it might just be too late. Mind Freak trying to hold on to mid. He's gonna spot him. He's quick on the snap. He has been absolutely crispy since the pistol round today against Talon Esports. And with a minute on the clock and only 2 members left, Talon may have to kiss their map pick goodbye and get ready for Sunset.
It's just way too oppressing right now. I mean, look at the utility. You look at the positions, too. 50 seconds left on the clock. Sure, it's a lot of time, but no! Singular peaks immediately eliminated by something. Slow it out now. Chip Boys fires off his Vandal, gives away his position. He's looking for duels.
Yeah, he wants isolated. He gets one. Shit, boys, he's done quite a bit in the past. Takes a little bit of unnecessary damage. He's rushed for it. Can't worry about it right now because you just have to win every single duel no matter what. Jump on top of the box and Mind Freak sees the kneecaps and will get the kill. A 13-4 victory coming off of a rough run at Master Shanghai. Paper X is here to remind everyone of their strength in VCT Pacific.
Just showing, again, they haven't really been missed all too much. In fact, they're actually showing better looks, a lot cleaner, a lot more teamwork, and talent needing to improve. Our analysts will tell us exactly what went down.
Thank you so much, casters. And yes, I mean, don't forget, Paper X were the champions of Stage 1. They are qualifying constantly to international events, and Talon definitely hasn't forgotten that either. And they were definitely watching a bit of Shanghai, seeing how Paper X performed in Icebox, but you know what? Paper X wasn't going to make the same mistake twice.
Nope, this was a lot more reserved, straightforward. They're playing post plants. That's a good thing to see.
Yeah, it's great.
Not over swinging. I mean, a couple overheat moments at the end, but this map was already done and dusted. So Forsaken pushing that Viper wall, it's fine, you know.
Paper X still needs to be a bit of Paper X,
yeah, you know, there's a couple moments where it's just like, okay, you didn't need to do that, but widely, who cares? This was just, this was a slaughter.
Yeah, Slaughter. Do you have any poetry for this, Asterai?
No, I will save it for the next time. You can't always have it, but I will say what we can have right now is Paper X kicking some, you know, un-interview tushy of Talon as of this point. It just felt like, again, the questions that I had before the first map, the series not done yet, the first map has been somewhat addressed. You know, something was looking a little bit off in Shanghai. This time, he was just firing on all cylinders. And again, once they put Forsaken on that initiator role, he was taking fights that it looked like he was always winning. Every time he just swings, kill here, kill there, great flash here, open something for Paper X, everything follows up neatly, and like Akilio said, it just feels like it was done and dusted when you saw that kind of rhythm coming out from Paper X.
Now, Talon definitely had a plan, though. They picked this map. They put Surfin back on the jet, Akilios.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that we've seen from him in a while, but this, as William was talking about, this was his original role. This is the agent that he has the most play time on. But I think the time away, maybe it's going to take a little while to get back into the groove, because there's a pretty stark contrast between the two jets. I mean, 6 first kills here for something he was constantly finding value right at the top of these rounds. 15-10 for him. This is just overall mentality. I mean, this is kind of what we expect to see when Paper X is in form. It was just a question of, are they going to be really in form here today? Are they still going to be suffering the same mistakes, the same issues that we were seeing from them over in Shanghai? Clearly, the answer is no. They're right back to brass tacks.
That's kind of the magical or crazy thing about PRX. When they are on form, they look absolutely unstoppable. And T1 Data was saying just now in our interview in our earlier match today, well, one thing that's lacking here in Pacific, especially with some of these top teams, PRX is consistency. But these were beautiful plays, Asarai, here on Icebox.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, putting that into our minds already, this also felt like, you know, TALON had some idea of where PRX was playing. But I was, you know, talking about this off stream, off panel, that PRX is one of those teams that when they're on form like this, it just feels like you can't really read out their tempo. So you have to kind of just match their aggression if you can. But unfortunately, everyone was just on form. You know, you see Debai just doing his own thing, double kill. Something and Jing doing the same thing. Forsaken opening up for the team, as I mentioned earlier. And it just feels like TALON couldn't really keep up with that pace, and that really ultimately just took Icebox away from them.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a big concern out here for TALON coming into this next map, because Icebox, it was their pick. PRX, we know how incredible they can be on Sunset. I think we have a decent understanding as well as what we can expect for their composition, fully anticipating it's going to be Debai going back over onto that stage. You know, Jing back over onto his namesake Raze with Forsaken, reinforcing and really escorting people forward on that breach. For TALON, they've played this map twice, and, you know, any ounce, all the success that they've been able to have on this map is all on that defender's side. You see 4 collective round wins on the attack. This is going to be potentially quite brutal from them. I'm going to be curious to see if they change something up. Are they going to have a different composition? Are they going to have Governor going back over onto the Duelist? Is he going to be playing Raze? Is it Neon? You know, what is this going to look like from them?
This is going to be really rough for TALON, but that said, PRX Sunset was so good since kickoff. It's usually the first ban for most of these teams going against PRX. Since then, TALON has seen PRX play Sunset over and over again, and maybe they've, you know, concocted something new over the last couple of weeks here.
I mean, one would hope, because, you know, you want to be able to come out here, and even if you don't get the win, similar to like T1 in the previous series, you want to show that you have been putting your time to use. So you have been making the most of it. And so far with the Icebox, with Surf having a pretty poor performance, Governor as well with the KO not really showing up, it leaves us scratching our heads a little bit, saying, okay, what were you working on this entire time? So I'm hoping to see a much more sound game plan, some solid counter stratting available here for TALON to, you know, be able to turn things around. They were able to do it. They got knocked down, you know, 0-13 again on that Lotus. They were able to rally back. They were able to make that a 3-map series. We've also seen from PRX in the past that they'll come out swinging. They'll have an absolute heater of a first map, and then they'll start to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, we have a question. We got a guess and gain ranking, a D-rank, or rank up game. The question is, what round will we see the operator come in hand? Like, which round are we going to see an op come in either side? This is Sunset, so this is a little bit more complicated, but remember, even something on a Gecko will play with an op.
Sure.
So what round is it? So you can see here the choices are round 3, rounds 4 or 5, or after round 6. Audience.
Who's starting on the defense?
I think it's PRX, because they were attacking on Icebox. I think it's after round 6. Oh, why did I say that?
Sorry, you can say it.
Yeah, I think
we
it's
can
going to be
share info. We're not all like William. Like we
I mean,
can
do we have
talk
to write
about
this
it.
down?
True, you
I guess
know.
we'll write this
But
down.
I'm not gonna pick after round 6. I'm gonna go with the viewers today. I think it's gonna be. I was actually thinking this. I was thinking about it earlier. It's like maybe 4 or 5. So yeah, I'm gonna go with round 4.
Fast track it.
And I think.
Could be wrong though. I could be entirely wrong. But you know what?
Well, you know what? Any of us could be entirely wrong.
That is also true. But I've been wrong so far today.
I was gonna
round
say,
4.
I was gonna say 3,
Okay.
but
It could be 3.
a lot of this is gonna be dictated by if they pick up the pistol.
Yeah.
So if they don't, I'm gonna leave myself a buffer space. I'm gonna say 4 to 5.
Okay.
And you're gonna go round 6. Okay. So, you know what? 42% of you guys picked round 3. So I think that's an interest. This is a tough one. We're all gonna suffer here a little bit. Someone's gonna be.
It's
D-rank.
probably gonna be round
And
3.
by D-rank, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm in Iron. I hit Iron so fast this stage too. I don't know who's gonna hit Radiant. It might be the Wingman.
Maybe none of us.
It could be none of us.
No, maybe nobody makes it.
It's the viewers.
Somebody's gonna. If we have a prize, somebody's gonna win it by being gold.
Yeah,
But just stagnating the entire stage. Never moving up, never moving down.
Best region, worst talent predictors. Yeah, but that's the guess and gain game. It's not meant to be fun. It's meant for all of us to suffer. It's like being a Paper X fan. It's just like so much pain constantly. Well, we are going to be going to Sunset. Paper X is good at Sunset. Talent, historically, not so great at Sunset.
Yet to be determined.
Yeah, it's there. It's a tall order when you're playing, but they let it through. So surely something, Asarai.
And this is where I have to also mention that, you know, when we were talking about before the series started that Lenny wasn't playing for Talon anymore. He's usually the one that actually plays with Talon on Sunset itself. So it's going to be the first time we're going to be seeing Surf actually bring in what he is going to bring in this second map. Is it going to be the Duelist again, or you were mentioning, is it going to be Governor? The answer is.
Okay.
What?
I mean, it's fairly standard comp. Cruz over onto the breach, something that he is very well versed with. And Governor does go back over to the Duelist, so we do get to see Surf here on that Gecko.
I'm okay with this.
All right. We good? We happy?
I mean,
we feeling good about this?
We're damn near mirrored. The big thing here, of course, is going to be the Cypher for ban. And I mean, if he's able to really just catch people off guard with his trapwire setups, with it, just the collective Cypher setup from him, and really slow up the approaches into the sites, then I think that this could end up being a bit of a thorn in the side for Paper X.
Just wanted to add as well. This is Sage again on Sunset with an Omen, so we could be seeing that Paper X boost over on the A side. Just to kind of point out.
Also, Paper X is on the attack.
Oh.
So I need an attack off something. In round 4.
All right. Well,
it's gonna be
something.
after 6.
I hope you heard that
I
message.
believe.
Watching Devi on stage on this map is an absolute joy as well. Hope you see more of it. We are going to go into map 2. The question is, are we going to go the distance, as these two teams love to do? Let's go over to our casters, William and Quack.
See if Talon can take us all the way. Last time it was Sunset on map 3. That stopped them from continuing their run in the playoffs, trying to make it to Masters Shanghai. But today, Sunset stands in their way of trying to get to a map 3 on Bind. Paper X starting on the attack with that Sage in their composition, and already looking to take full mid control. Meanwhile, look at this stack from Talon. They realize, okay, it's a Sage. You guys probably want to come B. We're just going to get information on A. We've got the cam. We'll use it for the retake. But for now, we're here to block the potential push.
That's a little bit risky though, right, Will? Okay, good little dark cover over onto A main as well, but Paper X just completely avoids it. Blocks off mid-market doors as well. So they have the route to actually go on over. Cruz is gonna back up to investigate.
Yeah, but they're still heading towards B though. The fault line is going to hold them at bay. It's going to be a lot of people. Governor peeks first ahead of his teammates. The paranoia a little bit late, but Cruz still gets one with the aftershock. Surf there for 2, and Cruz with 3. An absolute read routing Paper X into the B site. Take your pick, main, mid, or all the way back by Boba. Talon's there.
This is just such an empty strat. Looking at Paper X's composition, I mean, great calls, great plays, and just a way to hold the angles up around Boba as well. Paper X get completely stuck in this choke point. No way they made it through. Surf and Cruz landing the shots and showing us that they are rejuvenated.
I love that Surf. It made it look like Surf was kind of waiting to see if he's allowed to cheer or not. He's waiting for Cruz to pop off first, but Cruz feeling good about that call. The ante coming in hard. And now Talon looking to deny space on B once again. You know it's going to be the eco here for Paper X. You know that as long as they can't get onto the side that you should have the round. But it's already too many kills on the side of Paper X. Classics and Sheriffs, that's all it took. Now the upgrades.
Jitboy's gone as well. Upgrades coming in is a huge factor. Forsaken might watch the back with a Ghost, and that is a good call, but it does split Talon up a little. I don't know if that's the best thing. Surf with the Bulldog, Ban with the Stinger. They have to work together to really find these duels against Paper X.
So they're going to try to group up all the way towards Boba and Market. Maybe even go for a pinch, but already so much time has passed. Mind Freak now spotted. He's buying a lot of time on the site. He's being routed towards Ban. Ban switches to the Ghost for the long range. Spike still ticking away. Devi can't land the first shot. They know that Ban has been chipped down. And somebody has to get onto that Spike right now. Wingman not available. They're trying to bait them out. Surf trying to get the kills. He gets one, but Devi knows time is not on Surf's side. He'll get the kill, but the round is over. And that is all Paper X wants. All guns dropped from Talon's anti-eco.
All good, all good.
That just turns the tables around completely, economy-wise. Ooh, this is gonna hurt for Talon. The momentum shifted over. I mean, I thought maybe Serve wouldn't be able to get the kill at the end there, but he did, so that's not the worst thing in the world, at least. A bit of confidence boost coming back in. But that said, I mean, the way that this fight happened around B main, you do not expect it to go this way at all.
I just want to remind everyone, this greatly reduces the chances of an early
There's something
operator.
dari bawah.
And so, we'll have to
Victoria
wait.
says hello to Wood Rank.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Meanwhile, PRX not letting go of the pedal this time. They do have the weapon advantage, so they even feel better about going towards this B site. They'll be able to spam through, not even having to invest any early walls. They'll use it to completely block off the entry in from Market. Full control of the site here for something. He's free to roam around a little bit. Still love the paranoia coming in from Talon. Is it going to be enough? No, not at all, as PRX is just ready for it. Sure, it's an eco for Talon, but it doesn't feel that great. As PRX leads 2-1.
Just showing like what else PRX is capable of. Like, if they have the timing and the space to make this happen, that's the wall that'll go up. That's when something is able to use that wingman for a further room clear, a further space gain, and he's able to push up alongside it to collect on even more of these frags. It's just that much confidence coming in from PRX now as Jing pushes up and gets that double kill. I mean, Talon needs to find some way to round back. Jing struggles for a fist bump.
Okay, round 4 operator comes out. They save up for it. Saved all on the eco. And there you go. Governor trying to hold B main. That's their answer to the Sage. Holding a bit of that off angle. Ban with a quick peek out and an immediate cyber cage just for the retreat. You still got trap wires out here on the A side for that delay.
Cage triggered.
Now Ban just going step by step, forcing PRX to use some of that util, but backup already has arrived on the A side. Resurrection being used. And Talon, they'll have to reconsider some of their options as now it's back to being a 5v5.
Certainly going to be rotations over for A site, so PRX thinking that B might be slightly weaker. They're going to have to watch for any potential rotation onlookers. I don't see anything yet, but as they head over onto B, I mean, you got to watch out for Governor with that op.
Can he get a kill crossing over on Market? He finds one, but he hesitates for a split second, and something will pick up the kill instead. Operator recovered by Cruz, but no teammates nearby. They're gonna have to wait to see. Do they just go for an early save here?
Saving berempat.
Looks like that's the choice. They realize by the time backup arrives, you're still gonna be trying to hold on to that operator. They wanna make sure that they have proper weaponry to fight back in the next round. And PRX says, all right, no signs just yet. Maybe some of us go on the hunt. Some of us have some creds banked up. Mind Freak will be the first.
There is a tripwire there, though. I don't... Really just watching the angles. All right, that's enough information. The rest of PRX actually thinking about looking for this. But apart from that, here's what I'm worried about, Will. Yes, they might be able to save up the operator and the rest of the rifles, but in this long game, the battle of attrition, PRX has the lead and the ultimate points now. Jing with a showstopper. I don't know if an operator, along with a couple of rifles, is going to be enough to withstand that force.
Oh, and an early timeout. I was going to say, do you call a timeout? Because your go-to default reads on PRX's tendencies when this composition are not really coming to fruition outside of that pistol round. You assume with the Sage they're always going to want to vie for some B main control first, but we just haven't seen PRX really respect that decision from Talon much at all in the past couple rounds. So now Frost trying to remind them what they've seen in the first 4 rounds of this map. The question is how does PRX react to it as well? As some of the fans have also noted, and we called it out on the first map whack, PRX looking a lot more disciplined today.
That's the main thing. I mean, they're actually having the sense to play some defaults now. I mean, look at Alex versus Coach Frost as well. It's not the same, verbal abuse shout match like what we saw from Pacific in Stage 1. They're actually really calm and talking through every single little decision. So I am expecting PRX to be a little bit more cautious. Meanwhile, TALON, what is their game plan? Are they going to be a little bit more proactive on the defense? Governor still having that op, still being able to, possibly push up, find an opening pick.
You got to go for, you have to set him up for success, quite frankly, if you're working off of that operator. I mean, on B site, sure, I get it. Hold that off angle because at the end of the day, the most important thing is the Sage setting up for the wall, and that has to happen at the entrance. But outside of that, you're going to have to gain a little bit more control. Looks like it might be a long-range fault line support here onto A main. Near the Dizzy as well. No, Cruz just peeking out for now as they see no tags on the Dizzy. Ooh. Backs out, closes the door to market. Immediately gets broken, and now TALON, their default, already shaken up as that door no longer provides any value.
Yeah, no information and a little bit of that pressure as well. TALON now starting to rethink their decisions. The fault line will be able to give a little bit away, so attention brought back over onto this A site.
Governor just trying to make sure he stays focused, going for a little bit of this jiggle with this operator, but I'm feeling so scared for him as there's no backup. He will slowly go away. Wants to make sure he has an exit plan because they've taken over mid control. So as long as he can hold on to back sight, they should have a pinch.
He's still on site.
Yeah, there's no true sentinels on the side of PRX. So Governor, gonna play it safe from the thrash. Now they've used that ultimate, tries to go for a hit. Throws a pinch, just misses a little bit. Not gonna get the delay he wanted, and meanwhile the flank, it's been read by Mindfreak. He gets one, cannot quite connect onto the second, but the information is there. Siege wall blocking off one side. The rest of PRX are now on the hunt. They want to push off the flank so that they are free to focus onto it. The showstopper comes out for Jing. Gets Chip Boy's thrash as well, ties up Cruz. Jing on the hunt, wants to get the kill. I don't know if you have time for the knife, but you will have time for the headshot as it's a 4-1 lead for PRX.
Again, that's that timeout. PRX has the counter for it. The reads, Governor, unfortunate with the operator, just not quite being able to find value on it, and it hurts. PRX, I mean, that wall actually does so much in blocking off a single lane. Not only that, you got Divine propped up in an advantageous angle, and also Jing with the showstopper. I mean, talk about rubbing salt into the wound.
Man, it's a good read from TALON overall in their own game plan, but at the end of the day, doesn't quite take into account some of the space that PRX might have taken, and of course, it is an FPS. You do have to win your duels. Try to stay up on the numbers.
Anjir, trap apa itu?
Crisscross trip setup. We've seen that a couple times, but it's a full commitment. Snappy from Jit Boys as well as Bam, both of them trying to lock on. Jit Boys will fire first. Now the trips still haven't been discovered just yet.
And Jing's gone as well, so I don't really see, unless like a bit of utility goes into it or something, but apart from that, PRX definitely looking for a different game plan right now. A little bit of mid presence, and they've spotted out a couple of players. Now we're going in for some of these aim duels. A little bit of a trade. Something's looking for the next one. Cruz having the sensibility to back off.
Agak gila nih orang sendiri bawa spek.
Something just continues to walk forward.
It's absolute bait, but something reads into it. Oh my goodness, if he had gotten that kill. But at the end of the day, Governor, with the stinger. What is that? Snappy with it. Not going to lead to a round victory, but absolutely quick. Reminding us that T2 used to be one of the best offers that we've seen out here in the Pacific region.
On a Sage, no less. Something to think about for sure, but for now, I mean, this round is truly just TALON getting a feel, getting a read for the map, putting up these roadblocks in front of PRX. Once Jing gets shut down, once something gets shut down, the rest of the team starts to lose their limbs and no longer have that space gained.
Now a full trip set up here on the A side. TALON, they have the right read for the stack. It's an immediate kill for Ban, and there is the neural theft. He wants to get the backup as he knows that something's just walking forward, but he can't lock on to the kill. The neural theft gives the pings for the rest of TALON, but they don't have full forces just yet. The flank is quick, but the main forces are not staying alive on the site. Governor and Cruz hungry for teammates, but they will not survive.
Yeah, they have the
Saving,
positioning
but-
and the ultimates, but 2-on-4, you might want to think about the save, especially with that operator in hand. It has just been not the greatest time, not a joyful time for Talon right now. That operator hasn't had a chance to sing yet, and PRX, I mean, talk about changing up the pace. They just walk straight into Ben, and then hang back for a while. Just, how do you anticipate that?
I mean, Ban also goes for the second kill. Right decision to cut off the further backup, but couldn't line up the headshot. Mindfreak already on the hunt. They have a pretty good idea now that they have control of mid as well. Mindfreak, can he get through the first obstacle of Cruz? No, he gets shut down, and that should buy just enough time for the operator to stay alive. Fault line at the ready as well.
Little smile from Cruz. He manages to secure his back. 2-5 right now, and the lead is starting to be felt. You have those ultimates, though. Talon definitely has a chance at striking back. This is a team that puts in the hours. This is a team that works incredibly hard, and it would just suck if you don't see them walk away with at least a bit of a win today.
So the operator handed over to Ban, getting ready for what seems to be a showstopper play, and it looks like it's going to be all the way down mid, all the way through tiles, but he finds no targets. Can he find the next one? It's not going to land onto a kill. Meanwhile, Jing already at market. He's still stunned up, but he's staying alive, and now he's back in the fight. Cruz couldn't find the opening. Meanwhile, Ban holding true, but immediately it's only one kill for that operator. Jing's still alive. He finds his targets, they line up. Jitboy survives, but for not long enough. PRX winning a quick round in round 8.
He's just completely going off mayhem. Everyone trying to set up for it, but as it goes through, unfortunately, the plans do not quite work out, and PRX having the sense to actually fight back against this. The angle's being held, the counter reads, a couple of shots going through, but ultimately getting control over market allows Jing to really set up and line things up for himself.
It's a very unfortunate match so far for Talon, as we do see them getting some good reads. And again, on paper, their own plans are quite solid. But you see them missing out just a little bit on the aggression, a little bit on the confidence, a little bit on the aim. And it all starts to fall apart. And then they condition themselves to think that they cannot win in some of these situations. Something, just the absolute master of the market, holds down both angles, mind you, 180 degrees. And now with 3 sheriffs, what can Talon do? We know that some of them can be sharp shooters, but so far today, that hasn't been the story.
And not really wanting to give too much to PRX too. Something 1 point away from that Thrash. Defy 2 points away from the res. There is that Thrash now available as we near the end of this first half. Jitboy's blocked off. No exits. He's pinned down.
Devi's here. They're waiting for Devi to creep up, but Forsaken says, sorry, spotted him. I'll pick up the kill. That's 1 more point. 3 points now towards that Rolling Thunder for Forsaken. And overall, I mean, we mentioned it on Icebox, but that fire that we saw from Talon, it's missing. A little bit too patient, a little bit too cautious, perhaps. You know, some of these rounds, the read is good, the prep is good, but the execution lacking, and then the next round follow-up after that, they go right back on their back foot.
Right there.
But now with rifles again and a Thrash, see what they can do.
Might even need to see, timeout again, maybe not too soon, but still. Good little read with the fault line now. It completely connects onto PRX as they hang back.
So PRX is really actually the one starting to adapt to Talon, right? Recognize that Talon's had a couple good reads. See if you can bait out the reactions, and now they see, the heavy utility coming out on B. All right, now we can start to re-clear A a little bit. Haven't seen anyone push out.
Here.
This time another fast push out of B, and Talon's tried this so many times to hold on the side on A with the utility while the flank comes through. You even have from the shadows this time in the form of Jitboy's Omen. Is it going to be enough? Thrash online for Surf. They just need to stay alive until Cruz and Governors arrives. Jitboys stunned up, all 3 members still alive, and here comes the Thrash on the spike plan. Just trying to buy time. Jitboy swings on it, Man is there as well. Finally, couldn't be the retake, but Jing slows things down. Talon, they'll have to battle through a bit further. Something's still alive. That's another 1v1, but Jitboys will win out. And Talon finally the picture they've been trying to get on the board. The retake comes true.
Getting the reads for it. I mean, as soon as that Thrash goes through, they can tell the game plan, trying to stay alive, and they manage to do it. The rest of the team flanking forward as well. That's definitely what they needed. PRX might be able to hold some of their positions, Mind Freak up on top of the boxes, for example, but that said, Talon finally adapted to it, and now maybe a slight chance at turning around these tables.
Yeah, that's always been the biggest weakness of this composition, right? You don't have a Cypher, you don't have any true Sentinel to watch your back. You can start to punish that if you clear one side of the map early. Once again, full utility on A for a retake to buy some time. It's another set play towards mid, but this time all the way straight through. It's a full middle and the Dizzy. Something not expecting that one. Thought it might have been a tiles crunch, but I love the variation. Talon might be a step late, but they want to say that they're still in the game, trying to make it a 5-7 half. And Jin correctly recognizing, all right, if the back has been taken over, we got to push deeper into the site, create another opening. And the Sage Wall to cut off the flank this time.
Hiding inside the dark cover as well. Not watching the flank, all we got to worry about is the front, and that is where PRX might be able to take them down. But Jing peeks out, good flash, but not quite enough to fight against Jit Boys.
Devi has the operator, he gets one, they can't follow up the slow orb. Yeah, it's going to be able to delay them just a bit. The Aftershock to try to buy time, but they're already past him. Forsaken, he hears the Shrouded Step, but Jit Boys is quick on it. Now a 2v2. Devi's already set up, holding the angle. He gets one. The Shrouded Step actually gives time for the reposition of Devi. And Jit Boys knows the spike is ticking down. He has to run through, and Mind Freak swings out as PRX shuts down and dashes the dreams of Talon, trying to close the gap.
And that's just so quick. Again, you mentioned it before, PRX starting to show that they have what it takes to adapt. They have the discipline, and they're not complacent. That was what Jing mentioned in the hype trailer, that they don't want to be too complacent about their win from stage 1. And they're definitely showing that they're capable of it. The sensibility to put that barrier orb behind them instead of up front, and then having the positions along with that operator from Devi just to nail down Talon. I mean, look at this guy on the stage, on an operator, but 12 kills on top of everyone.
Yeah, fragging out to its heart's content. Devi doesn't get to do that every day on this squad of PRX, oftentimes in a supporting position. But today, feasting with that op on the attacking half. Governor lands a nice flick onto something, shuts down a bit of that aggression, but the resurrection comes through. Can Talon hold on to this? Has to shy away from the boom bot. They have to give up the site. They'll hold on to market for the time being.
Forces it out. Now a bit of utility being spent just to create a bit of that extra pressure.
Right there.
And Talon repositions into a 2-on-2 default, and against a lot of teams, this would be a good idea. But it's PRX, and they don't have a Sentinel. They recognize that. They don't have the leisure to wrap around all the way to the other side. Talon, they wanted to push out of A main, but they're still not quite sure, so that information isn't there for their teammates, and it's a fast push. Oh my, the shorty does land, but not enough for a kill. Surf trades 1 for 1, but the spike goes down. That's the most important part. Now the Thrash trying to push through. Surf trying to create a curveball, but the Thrash wraps all the way around, and Governor doesn't have a rifle to try to follow up. Just the operator, the Rolling Thunder to push him back, and the flank is still too slow. 2 members unseen. Mind Freak ready for it. He'll get one. And now hunting for ban. PRX on the move. Something's coming back as well. They're all ready for it. Ban will get 2 crispy ones, but it's just too many targets. A 9-3 half for PRX.
Nice couple of crispy chicken wings, but then by the end of it, just still not quite able to fire on through. Good opening shot from Governor, right? Talon able to fight back, but like you mentioned, Will, a moment of hesitation and trying to pull off a bit of that flank, it takes too much time. And PRX knows exactly where to apply that pressure. It's painful for Talon, and hopefully this halftime will give them some moment of respite to regroup and re-engage. They gotta tighten up those elephant pants theirs.
Now we'll see the collaboration, of course, outside of the server, but now in the server, Talon has to strike back. PRX so far trying to please all the fans that have come out to cheer for them, the reigning champions of VCT Pacific. Church NG currently in the absolute spotlight worldwide. PRX, They say the year's not over just yet. The most important trophy of all, awaiting all the teams around the world at Champion Seoul, and PRX have their eyes trained on it. Trying to go for the full drive forward here in stage 2.
Definitely looking better and better. Same compositions, same stories. And that's just going to be PRX now back over onto the defense. This is where that Sage can, have different kinds of value as well. Meanwhile, for Talon, I mean, what are we going to see? You need Cruz serve. They got to set Governor up, and they got to go in for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a full commit this time to the B side for the time being. Just trap wire to check for any forward movement out of A. A frenzy for Cruz as well.
Look at PRX too, though. Interestingly, focusing their attention over onto mid.
Just wanting to make sure that it's not going all the way deep. Again, a result of them not having something like the tripwire to cover top mid. They're pretty confident in their ability to go for a retake on either of these sites. Using this box nice and early. Cruz has an inkling for it, but he doesn't come into it, and it's an early drop. Something with a nice pick at the back site as well. The Frenzy still holding on to the site. Talon intends to cause chaos, but Forsaken tries to cut down the numbers. Now a 2v1, but serves solo. Wow! With the PRX Classic. Clutches it up. Continues the lead, 7 rounds ahead of Talon.
1, 2, and 3 taps. That's all he needs to clutch out the round. Mind Freak, still calm, still ready to strike. I mean, PRX, I was wondering what that positioning was all about, but you can clearly see, just trying to avoid the classic execution from Talon. They knew it was going to be that Blast Pack Satchel combo into the site, and PRX just avoids it.
I don't know if I've ever seen something get up for a clutch from one of his teammates. I mean, it was a great clutch, but this isn't like the craziest thing PRX has ever done. That was an interesting interaction, but great to see them back in good spirits. We've seen this so many times ever since the offseason. Forsaken, be it KO or Breach, sitting with the Outlaw, using the Siege Wall. PRX going back to some trusty old ideas. Now the Judge as well. I mean, the bait and switch is going to be perfect. The jump forward. Now the hunt past the Dizzy. So quick with it.
Spike down A.
Dizzy didn't have a chance.
He's just a little lizard. Why you gotta?
Is he a lizard? I don't know. I always thought he was an armadillo.
Armadillo.
First of all, they aren't actually animals for anyone curious. They're like spirits. But Forsaken's gonna get the cleanup kill. 11-3 here for PRX. And there it is, something catching right back forward. And as Ledesk mentioned, again, a quick reminder, something wasn't here at the beginning of VCT Pacific last year, so he has been absolutely farming these kills to catch up this quickly.
Welcome to the 1,000 kill club. I mean, you can definitely see how it all happens. The Judge in hand, being able to find that double. Jing as well is just there to back him up. I mean, this is going to be a tough ride for Talon as they try to come back into the game.
Okay.
But it's not happening yet. Forsaken opening things up with a quick headshot.
Yeah, the Outlaws have always been so powerful in the hands of PRX. Mind Freak, he's been very sharp today. Has his eyes trained on the very edge. You know that that's where they want to pick out from the smoke. But quick trades this time from Talon. Moving as a unit. Their game plan always to try to hold some semblance of control in backside while the spike goes down. And PRX will respect it for the time being. Jing all alone has to wait for something, only a Judge in hand, but should be able to pick up a long-range weapon if he so chooses. There it is, a Phantom, perfect choice. Mosh Pit to toss him out. There is the wingman to go for the defuse. It baits out the attackers. Ban will go for the trade. Boombot singles out one. But he knows it's a pinch now, Jing. Hungry to try to get it. He wants to close the gap. Goes right up against the box. And Chip Boys will stabilize. 4th round for Talon. And we do have to make clear, it's not match point just yet for PRX. There is still some hope for Talon.
I need a draw. Definitely. I mean, this time just kind of delaying that push, I think. Allowing for the initial forces to push on through. They managed to create that space, but then the rest of the team to slowly fan out across just to find those trades. Once they found it, Chit Boys with the paranoia out towards Jing really counteracted PRX's retake scenario. So 4-11 now. PRX still fighting back up on the Outlaw, trying to make use of some long-range duels, but the stack up on A is interesting as well.
Yeah, the Thrash trying to push them back, but it does get taken out just in time. So Talon able to continue their agenda of pushing forward. However, they now recognize it's a bit of a heavier stack onto the A side than they may have wished for. Governor, is he going to have the backup on the pop flash? There is a double swing. Governor good for one. And they quickly still stay ahead in numbers. Meanwhile, Ban digging deep in mid. Already in position. If they need, a rotate could happen, but the Thrash will clear out the site for the time being. Something waiting for a timing, and Defy up top through the Sage wall. You can never count that out. Wingman goes by something. He wants to try to get a kill, but for now, he'll get the free spike down. The smoke dissipates. Woo! I was getting a little worried, but Surf quick on the trigger.
Defy able to fight back, but yeah, it's just enough of a timing for Talon to really shoot back against PRX. And with that, economy turned upside down. Talon has a chance to find the momentum.
See if they can string it together. Still a long way to go. No mistakes allowed for Talon here on Sunset. But it does seem like the players individually starting to come online just a bit. Looking a bit faster, looking a bit more confident, a bit more snappy in their movement and their aim.
Right there.
Especially on the attacking side.
Yeah,
Not
salah
really all
banget.
too much to consider or hesitate about. Meanwhile, PRX starting to for some of these duels and trades. It doesn't quite work out, especially up
Orang
around
main
this elbow
berlima.
position.
Okay.
But now with pistols, let's just walk up front. Why not? We got the sheriff, we got the firing squad. We're back in, boys. And Ben, unfortunately, will get shut down. That is a rifle pickup.
Yeah, that one rifle could make a huge difference in the hands of PRX. Talon, they know where the opponents are coming from. For the most part, the likely scenarios are B main and market. That's where Talon's watching. They're a bit quicker than Cruz imagined. He has to get ready with the Aftershock. Aftershock just to buy time, going for the reposition. Now everybody, their eyes trained here. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the minimap as String goes all the way around, but so much utility dumped in from PRX. Surf stays alive, isolates the fight. Now Wingman to make sure that he can still stay alive. And all through this, Governor staying focused on the site, recognizes that it's still missing out on Defy, and Governor will get the final kill. 6th round win for Talon.
Good communication, good trust in the teammates, and what a way for Surf to ride the wave. I mean, knowing that they were going to push up front into this B main position, he holds it down. First 2 kills, and then waiting with the wingman against Mindfreak. At the same time, like you mentioned, just looking out for where Defy could possibly approach from. This is Talon showing that they do have the teamwork to really come back into this. 3 rounds in a row now, and PRX buying back up.
If they can win this round, suddenly tying it up is right in front of their doorsteps. Big round for Talon, grouped up by Tiles, but something. An absolute wild card here in mid. He's planted in. He doesn't realize that Governor's already made it past him. They have no idea. He doesn't get both. Surf, an absolute savior for Talon here in the second half.
A little bit of a fault line, but look at how fast Mindfreak responds instantly with the dark cover. Shuts the door in front of Surf's face. Couple of shots fired through just to deter any further aggression. Meanwhile, Jing heads up front in towards Elbow, but bites the bullet. What is Forsaken gonna do now that he's alone on A?
Pushes forward, tries to close the gap a bit. Now from the shadows here to support them as well. You do still have the Thrash as well for Surf. If he can stay alive, he gets the kill, and now they know B-side has to be clear. They notice they're in the wall. Thunder sends back. To a kill on Mindfreak. Forsaken setting up the team kill Goomba Stomp. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. I mean,
outside of game collaboration, inside of game kind of collaborating, they gave Talon their wings. They gave Ban wings. And it's just unfortunate, but what a way for Talon to really cement their win in this round. And like you mentioned, Will, this is now Talon potentially being able to even out the odds. It's right at their doorstep.
Another buy-for-buy round win for Talon. And a big part of this is Surf holding things down, being a menace. And Ban is patient through all of that.
It's like, all right.
You can tell he's just waiting for his feet to land. He's constantly searching for that head. And that forces out the timeout from PRX. Fans have been wanting to see Alex and Alex's desk on camera. And we get a chance. Talon, or PRX rather, smiles wiped away for now as they realize it's not going to be smooth sailing just yet.
Yeah, not entirely that simple. After the past couple of rounds, I mean, Talon has been showing their adaptations to this game as well, right? I mean, delayed pushes, finding bits and pieces of teamwork where they are able to isolate some of these duels against some of the PRX players as well. The trade's not quite happening for PRX, and the retake's not quite happening as well because they don't quite have the numbers. So 4 rounds in a row now for Talon. Let's see if they can string a couple more.
Looks like it's going to be a fast hit onto A. That way you can get the showstopper as well. It's going to be a full execute up to the doorsteps of A main. Meanwhile, Rez online for PRX, but only 2 members, so not looking to use that too early just yet. The early spike him spots both, and immediately elbow control given over to Talon.
A little bit more time now, a little bit more space. PRX triple stack on the other side, slowly starting to move on over. Ban has an opportunity to collect on a possible kill. Not quite happening just
Ini
yet.
orang getar banget.
Yeah, but Mindfreak takes this opportunity to push out mid. Ban, I don't know if he quite realizes it just yet, but he will get the kill. And now they realize mid control given over to PRX. Elbow still there as Ban still fishing for a bit more information, but that's already 3 members you've spotted in mid. Talon has to go right now. They have an opening. They have to make it happen. Governor hesitating until his teammates are there for the backup. He does swivel and get the kill. Something, a rare whiff from him. And now Talon spread out across the map. Post-plant position online. Showstopper just to try to buy time. There's the counter, but it's after the rocket fires off. And Jing will only get the trade to even the numbers. Sage Wall online from the shadows to try to buy more time. Coming in from Chip Boys, but he's already losing teammates. There's a crack in the wall, but the weapon's not out. Mindfreak gets the read. And PRX, a successful retake, will bring them to match point.
I mean, this was a counter in protocols. They knew what Talon's game plan was alongside that showstopper. Allowed them to sneak in, but bingo, bango, bish, bash, bosh, it's going to be PRX with Jing in the movement to counter against Governor and that showstopper. Divine being sneaky and beaky with that barrier orb just around the other side of Elbow. He hung down and looked for that frag against Surf. A little bit unfortunate for Talon, but it is what puts PRX at match point now.
Yeah, it's the small little mechanics, small ways to use your tool set. And now that it is match point, never mind, take that back. I was gonna say, bit of a different soundtrack. Well, we'll have to wait to see what the issue might be. At least it doesn't seem like it's a hot pack being bursted open, so wait to see confirmation on what it is. Admin already on site to try to resolve this here for Governor. Audio issue, taking a look at his earbuds.
It's going to take a little bit of time, but at the same time, I mean, just PRX having that many rounds in their pockets, a bit of a timeout, and it just shows, you know, Alex's timeouts continue to have that impact. Right, the win rate continues to climb a little bit higher and higher.
Yeah, Talon, they've been in this position before, right? This was that map where they started to try to mount a very strong comeback in Sunset as well to try to best PRX in the playoffs in that knockout round in Stage 1. But unfortunately, they lose track right near the end, the focus slipping away from them. They don't want to make that same mistake, but they've already made it way too close to a deja vu.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, Will. I mean, the way that Talon has switched up the roles from before, now back to something that they're more comfortable with, but we don't really see, you know, the same level of success, you know, against like some other games, some other teams that they've played against. Governor, not the loudest performance on the server, but meanwhile, Surf on this Gecko has been the one who's topping the kill feed. And it happens because, I don't know, he's kind of hanging back and going in for some of these trades.
Yeah, a lot of the lurks once again, right? And the trades, he's very quick uncovering for his teammates, something that we couldn't really see when he was playing that Jet on the Icebox. But now, issues resolved, we continue on to what may be the last round of the night. PRX already leading 1-0 in this match, now 1 round away from wrapping it up. Something will be denied vision up in mid. Now slow control of mid. PRX, that previous round, countered out that lurk. Is that going to be the swing on the paint shells? No, it's going to be the fault line that's just too strong. Coming in from both sides, and no escape for Governor, and it's going to be the snappy shot of something dominating the mid lane of Sunset. And Surf, we praise him, coming back online here on map 2. But it's 5 members of PRX.
I am grimacing in pain off of that one. 5-on-1.
5 monsters that Surf has to battle through. 1 down, but can he make sure it's all 1v1s from here on out? It's just too many. There's the thrash, and it's a double, triple swing as PRX start off stage 2 strong, right where they left off here in Pacific with a 2-0 clean win.
PRXing their way back into Pacific Stage 2. 2-0 win, showing a little bit more discipline, a little bit more cleanliness in how they want to take some of these duels, and a lot better teamwork as well. The adaptations coming back in after Alex's timeout. But TALON, I mean, just trying to find their footing still in this Pacific Stage.
Yeah, it does seem like there is a bit of impact on the role reshuffle, and I'll just call it a roster shuffle as well, right? They had that 6-man rotation. They had a Sova specialist. They had someone who was helping with the secondary calling. And it does seem they're still trying to find their comfort zone, their own new color and tempo. But unfortunately for TALON, not much time left. Thankfully, they set themselves up for success after stage 1 with a nice record in the league play. So we'll see if they can continue to do it here in stage 2. But for now, PRX continuing to just gather all the championship points, making sure that they can redeem themselves at Champion Soul as they start off stage 2 with a very strong showing against TALON Esports.
Very coherent. You got Uncle David with that outlaw on the stage on this map of Sunset. It is PRX, and of course the crowd favorites as everyone's starting to cheer for them once again. We'll toss it right back over onto our analyst to break down this entire series.
And it wasn't a 3-mapper as we thought it might go. PRX not only proving why they were the champions of stage 1, they want to show how much more disciplined they are coming in into stage 2, that they are improved, refined, and ready to rock.
Yeah, I mean, just a strong performance across the board here in both maps from PRX. I mean, a decent rally back here from the side of TALON. You know, just trying to fight back, trying to get themselves back into this game, but too much damage dealt. Timeout finally gets called there by Alex, leads to the map point, leads to the victory. Strong performances from basically everybody on PRX. No one was a slouch here today.
Yeah, absolutely. It just, again, it's the same thing we were talking about on Icebox. It just feels like they could do really no wrong. Sure, they get traded off, but then they're so quick to kind of just go for that next step. Sure, it will have like something get picked off because he was on the front, but then you have the backline, the buy and Mindfreak just kind of following it up, and these setups, man, from PRX, the fault line bounce plays that comes off of Forsaken. Everyone from PRX is kind of expecting it, and every single one of them is looking to kind of follow up on it, and you just see TALON really struggling to adapt to that.
Just, I mean, you guys made a great point. Every single one of their players are on form today, and it isn't the wild PRX with these crazy heroics just running in and doing insane things. This was just absolute like masterclass. This is, if they continue this way, I mean, this is a good sign for PRX. We just need that consistency from them. I mean, this is a good sign for both teams, both Gen G and PRX, defending their respective titles, their respective trophies from just a few weeks ago. I can hear the audience behind me. You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah.
They're going like
crazy.
Mad.
They're geared up.
Yeah.
You know, we're having the Korean side interview at the moment, and clearly they're very happy. Yeah. So yeah, plenty of PRX fans, of course, they're in the audience, and they always are here. They're always here to show their support.
Yeah. It's great to see. The stadium has been absolutely packed the entire day today, and we have our own ranks to discuss.
Yes, we do.
Yep. I just want to point out that I specifically said round 4 with absolute confidence here.
Well,
and
you don't
viewers,
get 2 rank up, so.
I don't get 2, so I'm just bronze.
I get a rank down.
Yeah, you get a rank down.
To be fair, if the audience, some of the audience also guessed, or not all of the audience went for 4 or 5, right? If some of them guessed round 6, It was sort of true because the operators that got kills were after round 6. So just saying,
I
right?
see.
The first
Well,
time
it
that
wasn't
Talon.
about kills.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
It's
But
about
still.
purchasing it. So I'm back
Yeah.
to the starting point.
Look at that.
So
Good
highest
job.
rated out of the casters. I'll take that.
But
Everybody
the
else.
viewers are you're the greatest.
Yeah, everybody else is just a
You're-
bronze.
You're the goat of Pacific.
It's okay.
The viewers, though, I have to point out, 42% of you did actually
Yeah.
say round 3. So luckily, that 3% of you guys carried Wingman to the top.
I think we should just split them then. They should be right in between diamond
So we got a
and plat.
wingman and a dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should add in
And a
Dizzy.
thrash too. Why not?
I don't know what happens if Wingman gets a rating before any of us, if the audience gets there. I think you guys should get a prize.
Everyone watching gets a Reina statue.
Everyone gets a Reina statue. Hashtag VCT Pacific. Say, I want a Reina statue.
The rest of the show is canceled. All budget goes to providing Reina statues.
For everyone
The
out
thousands
there.
and thousands of viewers. I love it.
Now, we did not go to map 3. PRX absolutely on form today. But, you know, we're looking at how these frags were going. First kills, 10-10 on both sides. I think Talon, again, they definitely prepared stuff, but it's so hard to go against PRX when they are in top form.
No, it very much is. And I mean, again, similar scenes to what we saw on Icebox. You know, Talon, they're able to get some early advantages. They're able to find these first kills. They just haven't been able to fully convert off of them. You know, a decent run back to try to make this a little bit more competitive. They get themselves up to a 13-7. It was looking like we were going to have back-to-back like 13-4 score lines there for a little while. So it's still some fight being shown, but clearly some more work to be done. I mean, it's a tough draw for your first opponent coming in to stage 2 to have to go up against PRX. So it is what it is, but for Talon, again, like my eyes are going to be trained on the next patch, that next round. The buffs coming through for Neon, maybe even some ISO coming into play. But Governor, if he can really find his groove with that Neon, really find that impact, then I think Talon's going to be just all right.
Yeah, 100% agree. Speaking of the Neon, I don't know, maybe we'll also see Forsaken. That he was playing that a lot last year, so just kind of something to also be maybe excited about. This player, though, Davai, was bringing in some... He's good with the operator, and it's something that I think teams don't really take too much into account, how different his opping playstyle is to something. And I think a lot of the interactions that he's had, you kind of see the players not really knowing when the timing is, how he kind of position himself, and that's how he got so... I feel like that's how he got so many frags with the op, even on the attacking side.
I mean, he was hitting some pretty nasty flicks as well, so he did have some something-esque moments throughout there, but yeah, I mean, just overall, a fantastic performance from everybody on PRX. I mean, Mind Freak, the pistol clutch up, some other fantastic moments in there. Forsaken, Util was just so very on point.
Bye-bye.